Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. We're inching along. We're getting there soon. Kickoff, finally. Enough talk. Football will happen. It'll be a glorious thing. But before that, we get Florida State basketball, which will be a glorious thing on Saturday. By the way, we're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do, we got you covered all 3 hours. Posted upon the conclusion of the program, actually, both to iTunes, where you can subscribe to the show and the podcast and rate it 5 stars. Tom loves when we do that.
Please, even though you don't like 5-star ratings, just give us 1, please.
5, do it. Go all in on those stars. And then also on our website, ESPN Tallahassee, and on the WTSM app, free for all your mobile devices. You can have that. You can Periscope the program if you follow the 979 ESPN Radio Twitter feed there. And same goes for YouTubing. You don't have to go to Twitter to that. You go to YouTube. You know that. Hello, YouTubers. Good on you. Good to see you. Bright, shiny, bald head. That light directly above me. It's just, I'm not worried about being bald. I mean, well, I know I'm bald, but it's just blinding.
We need to get you a lamp that,
lights the face differently.
Well, the fall off, as they say, the light to dark it's very sharp.
It is very
fall
sharp.
Off, fast fall off.
And I noticed the camera shot that I see here is not really the same look that you get when you look over at Director Matthew. You see, I'm looking over at Director Matthew now. That, I don't know.
Looks pretty good today.
Yeah.
You must be working out, pal.
I'm trying, man. I have set course. I've got a deal here where I'm doing it's nothing, but you got to commit to something. So, like, if you commit to this thing, and then maybe it will influence other good decisions. So I've been doing this. Did I tell you I got this? This is crazy. I'm a sucker. They get me. They get me on these Instagram apps.
Oh, you got the Peloton, didn't you? They're advertising everywhere.
No, they are. But you don't just flippantly buy the Peloton. It's like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, he's the Nordic Tracks grandson and granddaughter is the Peloton.
I don't know what. First of all, I don't think I'd ever use the Peloton. I'd see that thing there. It would be an eyesore. I'd be furious. It'd be like when Millar bought his jet ski, and I was like, "You're never going to use it. It's going to sit there. It's just going to be an eyesore. It's just a waste of money." And he goes, "Oh, I'm getting it anyhow." And then it was a waste of money and an eyesore, and he was pissed, and he had to sell it not too long after he bought it.
Didn't he do okay though with the selling of it? Didn't he make most of his money back?
I think so. But I bought one of these. Have you seen these things? They're the different slots where you put these handles into a wood board, and they're color-coded, and depending on where you put those, you do push-ups on them, and you target different angles. So you're off to the side, then you're in close, you're up high, you're down. It's really cool. And so I do 100 every day. Right in the morning when I wake up, and I go through each. It's a whole routine they give you, and you do 100 of these every day.
Is it a flat board? Is it angled? Or
No, it's flat, and then you've got the 2 handles, and they've got ridges that come down, and you put them into the board, and they like red, green, yellow, purple, and then it's diagonal, it's perpendicular. You got it all.
Sounds like a big game of Battleship,
It's a lot of
with
fun.
all the pegs.
Oh, by the way, I loved Battleship, and I loved Stratego. Did you play Stratego as a kid?
I did not,
You
no.
really should have. I'll whoop your ass in some Stratego, buddy.
Okay.
We'll do it.
We'll play some Dr. Mario after, and I'll return the favor.
We'll do it. And then let's play some Risk. Let's get a big Risk game going.
I've never played a full game of Risk.
It's awesome. Risk is awesome. But you need people. You can't just, you and I aren't sitting down
What
playing
takes
Risk.
longer, Risk or Monopoly?
Risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Risk takes longer.
Is that why they made a Seinfeld episode out of it?
Yeah, Risk takes a long time. If you're good, and if you
get to watch the board.
Yeah, if you get some good players, it's a big to do. Yeah. All right, enough of that. There you go. There's your chit chat. We're gonna get good news this weekend. We're gonna feel like this was a worthwhile weekend in recruiting. I'm locked in. You got me, Michael Langston. You got me, WarChant.com. You got me. I'll be honest with you. Yes, we have a special relationship with our friends at WarChant.com, and I've known those guys forever. But I know all those other guys, and they're all great guys. All the sites got me. 247's got me. Tomahawk Nation's got me. I'm locked in, Tom.
Yeah, but Michael Langston specifically has you, huh?
Well, I mean, that's where you read his. He's the recruiting guy.
I know.
Yeah.
He's the only one you mentioned by name. I'll just checking.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I was reading his report just before I came on today. So, it's ever fresh on the mind, Tom.
That's right, recency bias.
Yeah, that's right. That's all that is.
Yeah.
I sat on my computer here. I went, what do we got going on here? Good news? Hope I hear that's good news. Let's go. Good news here. Bunch of good news. I'm like that guy. I'm recruiting that guy.
Recency bias. MJ Walker is the best player in the country. Best three-point shooter in the country. You can't tell me otherwise.
Terrell Baker is going to be on the show tomorrow, former Florida State great. You like that? You like that, Terrell Baker? There you go, buddy. I threw you in there as a former Florida State great. Well, he is getting inducted into the Florida State Hall of Fame. I'm happy for him. He's a friend of mine and a good guy, and we'll talk some basketball in addition to, we'll probably say some nice things about him too. But, we'll get him on the program tomorrow. And Warwick Dunn's going to join us on the program tomorrow. Busy show tomorrow. Not so much today. Really nothing for you today. We're about to go home. I'm kidding. There will be plenty of good stuff today. There always is. But those are the guests for tomorrow.
You know, our friend Rory Chirac, who hosts Rattler Review Friday nights, he stopped by the studio today, and he said that he loves the Minnesota basketball promo. He said it makes him crack up laughing every time. Never gets old.
Minnesota.
Basketball.
He just listens to that over and over again?
When he hears it on the air. He just thinks it's a great bit. Yeah. He said to say hi.
Well, hello, Rory. And that's been a valued addition to our lineup here at ESPN Radio. We have a lot of those. For example, tonight, as I can brag on the station, old friend of mine named Doc that I worked in radio with back in the day used to call it the pimping of the station. And then they would play Benny Hill music, and he would go through the entire lineup of what was on. And
that's a good bit.
Yeah, it was a good bit. I gave him credit for that, and always made me giggle some. He would do it at the end of the show to let you know what everything was. But when we do that now, and I hear that music in my head, I think, we've done a good job here, Tom. Tom Lang's done a real good job here. We've got a lot of stuff on the airwaves. And tonight, the soccer guys are on. A little something for everybody, Tom.
That's correct. No, there is something for everybody.
When am I going to get my music show on 97.9 ESPN Radio? When that's good,
can
we have a meeting? Can we have a meeting?
When you record one, then we'll find a slot for it.
You know the problem with that show?
Probably
frankly,
weekdays at 1 p.m. maybe.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that show, buddy, is we can't play the music.
Sure, we can.
I don't think so.
If it's on the air, yeah, we have licensing protections.
Whole songs?
We have the licensing protections at the level of a music station, as I understand it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if I introduced, like they used to do back in the 70s and 80s where you do an entire side of a record. You'd be like, let's listen to the...
so you want to do 30 straight minutes of music.
Well, no, I'm just saying let's do side one of Dark Side of the Moon, folks, coming up next. If I did a show like that, Or the White Album, right?
I mean...
and just boom.
Yeah, to stay loyal to the format, I don't know. But, I mean, we could do that legally speaking, sure.
Okay, well, now that I know that, hell, we could be the weirdest sports talk station in America.
I'm sure the weekends we could probably find an hour to
Let's
do that.
find a way. Let's find a way. It'll be a lot of fun. I would like that. So I read an article today, speaking of the Super Bowl, and listen, I'll get back to Florida State in a second. There's not a lot here. We're just holding our breath that we get some average kids to help make out the rest of that offensive line, right? And I'm not talking about them as human beings, I'm sure. I hate that we always have to do that caveat.
Well,
can we stop doing that? Of course I'm not talking about them as human beings. I'm talking about them as football players and how they're regarded in recruiting circles. For all I know, they're great players, but I'm just talking about their recruiting rankings and who's recruiting them and, who we're in competition with, that kind of thing.
But still, I mean, if you're in competition with a team like Auburn, even if they aren't the Alabama, of their conference.
No, that's a big deal.
It's not the same thing as recruiting him against,
UCF.
Iowa State,
No, sure. No, listen, at this point, if you're talking about an offensive lineman, I don't care if we're recruiting against Washington State. If it's a Power 5 team and he could play offensive line for a Power 5 school, he's an upgrade over what we got. Guaranteed.
So you'd only start blushing at about like Tulsa or Tulane.
Yeah, like we gotta find a way to beat out Temple for this player. We got to listen. I'm a little worried that Utah State's going to land his services. We have got to do everything in our power to convince him Florida State's the place for him, and not say Utah State.
I don't know. Jumping into character as you, I'd say, now I do love Utah State. They've made me a lot of money over
They have, and you've heard that on the air every week. I have
every
Utah
week.
State
They're
in the game.
Redemption Thursday picks every week.
They are a mainstay, Tom. And did you look at their number against the number? There's a reason that they're a mainstay. You got to find those trains, man, and jump on board and ride, baby. You got to find that team.
Find that train.
Find that train. Jump on, make it happen. It's exciting when that happens, and it's rare that you could ride one for as long as I did, Tom. I mean, it was impressive.
It was chugging and chugging.
That was a
and
run,
chewing and chewing.
That was a run for like 9 weeks before Vegas went, wait a minute. Utah State is a covering machine. Yeah. We got to raise the number.
That was 2014 Clemson for me. I figured them out, and I rode probably from middle of September through the beginning of November, second, third week.
Every known gambler or every gambler listening to this will find either a trend or a team that they have figured out before others. It happens if you do this, if this is your thing, because you're always looking for the ankle. And a lot of times it just makes you a loser. But other times it makes you temporarily wealthy.
A winner.
And then other people jump on it. That's right. And then other people figure it out. But it's great when you figure it out first. And it'll happen. It happens to everybody who pays attention. You're like, hey, wait a minute.
First half Alabama. That was your thing this year.
My thing this year. All over it. And we were taking that to the bank, baby, every week. It's like, this is ridiculous. Alabama just beats the bejesus because they don't want to play in the second half. It's crazy. They take the other team in the second half, take Alabama in the first half. As my cashew comes up.
Cashews?
Oh, pistachio.
Oh, pistachio.
I always say cashew, but it's a pistachio. Anyhow, having said that, buddy.
Pistachio.
Minnesota. So what I would tell you is that
cashew.
This year, the angle should have been for you, but you don't gamble on hockey the way you should. But, you know, the overs in the first period, it's crazy. Now, I didn't find that. I heard that, and then I started paying attention, and it's true. It's been unbelievable. First period overs. At one point, the Lightning, I think, were 30-something and 2 in first period overs. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
We do come out playing.
Now, last night we didn't come out playing. Last night we came out sloppy and got buried.
Well, that game, that's an easy one because Pittsburgh played on Monday. And they got embarrassed by New Jersey. So they come home embarrassed. They're desperate, too. If you look at the standings in the East, everything is compacted. Pittsburgh could be on the outside looking in. That's not a crazy statement. So you got a hungry team, and we had a 10-day layoff.
You want the angle, then? You want the return angle?
Yeah, is that the Islanders haven't played all week, and we're playing them tomorrow night.
The ass-kicking they're going to receive,
in
buddy.
Brooklyn, yeah.
All in while you can. Jump on board.
That team has been a monster up to the break, but, yes, they have been off for some time now.
Get ready for a whooping. Islanders, we're all in, guys. Big Daddy will be with you tomorrow. That's going to happen. So back to the New England Patriots, or should I save it? I will. I'll save this nugget on the New England Patriots because good article today. There have been so many angles. It's annoying. We're all ready for the game. But you can get the occasional well-written piece that lends insight into a juggernaut. So why something is the way that it is or how it works. And I've often wondered this, and it creates the larger conversation because we watched it happen here, and we're kind of watching it happen with Georgia a little bit, maybe not to the same level, but if Kirby wins a national championship, it will christen that as such. And it involves the pros. I'm going to ask you this question, or our listeners this question. It's actually just fodder. It's a lot of fun. First, I'll quote some things, and then we'll go from there. But about the mighty New England Patriots and the run that they're on, and the great Bill Belichick. And I know that's annoying to hear me say. I got you, but it is quite frankly and honestly the truth. We've watched that happen, and people that have worked with him and played for him. And been around him for any length of time, all will echo those sentiments of genius.
It's the GIF from Titanic. It's been 86 years. That's how every other team.
Is this it? Is this it?
I'm tired of asking that question. Until somebody else in that division stops firing coaches and winning games. You know what I mean? And the Jets have a new head coach. The Dolphins have a new head coach. The Bills have Josh Allen. Listen, man, there are no contenders coming for New England in the near future.
Jets have a chance. I think they made the right hire, even though he's got spooky eyes and looked like being coked out of his mind. But the other thing that I'll tell you.
He looked like Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman.
He is crazy out there for that press conference. I got you. Some of it is just the man can't help himself. He's got crazy eyes. Whew. Which would you rather have? Would you rather have Colin Hayes' inward eye from Men at Work or his crazy bug eyes looking like he's jacked up on?
I would want Colin Hayes' inward eye because you're giving me Colin Hayes' voice.
Which is a great voice.
And I would sing to myself and weep.
About your crooked eye.
Or whatever. I'd sing about anything.
Yeah.
I'd sing about the foam on the walls in these studios.
And it would sound beautiful.
And it would sound
amazing.
amazing.
Hayes' voice, yeah. Yeah, no. I got you, but you're taking his talent, not his eye.
I'm taking both. I'm taking the whole package, man.
Colin, if I'm going to take this eye, I get the guitar playing and the singing.
You could take Gase.
You got to give me a career.
You could take Gase and have his acumen and be a head coach in the NFL.
With his
Manning loves him.
Eyes.
And his frizzy little whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you got all of it.
You could be Colin Hay.
I'd take Colin Hay.
You're in an episode of Scrubs where you come out as a cadaver and you're playing the acoustic guitar.
There's a lot of good things there, too. And you're perpetually on tour, doing a good job selling out 2,000-seat arenas. You're doing okay.
He kind of looks like musical Colin Quinn. Have you ever noticed that?
Except for the eye.
Yeah, well, there's some differences there.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys.
Got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
By Liberty Tax of Tallahassee, the law office of Jose Fernandez, and by Truck and Car Concepts.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Guys, are you tired of being tired? Frustrated because it seems impossible to lose belly fat? If you're looking for a solution, listen to Dave.
Andro 400, I really love it. I've lost 50 pounds. I was a size 38 waist. I've gone down to a 32 waist. My mood has changed. I don't get stressed out. It gave me so much more energy. It feels like I'm 25. I'm so happy. I'm just a completely different man.
Andro 400 Max, an extra strength, all natural testosterone booster. The safe and affordable way to gain energy and lose stubborn belly fat. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Go to andro400.com or call 888-510-9336. That's 888-510-9336.
This is Chris Kraft with news that is sure to change the car buying landscape in North Florida. Our brother Peter and I are now the proud new owners of the Infiniti dealership in Tallahassee, the all-new Kraft Infiniti. As Mercedes-Benz dealers for over 25 years early in our careers, we know how to sell and service Highline vehicles the right way. At Kraft Infiniti, our mission statement is simple: to provide our customers with a car buying experience that is unsurpassed in value, consideration for your time, and pure enjoyment. Finally, the Highline experience you deserve, and it's from the Kraft brothers. Infiniti is much more than a brand name. It's a lifestyle and it's a statement. And at Kraft Infiniti, Peter and I will go beyond your expectations in providing the best sales and service experience in Tallahassee. So come see us at the all-new Kraft Infiniti, beyond your expectations, and brought to you by the Kraft brothers. Kraft Infiniti, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, conveniently located between Home Depot and the I-10 flyover. Call 297-1488 or visit us on the web at craftinfinity.com.
What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Jeff?
You know, buddy, that I like archaeology, right?
Yeah. I'm quite an anarchist myself.
Right. Well, anyhow, do you know what they find the world over when they excavate? You know the item they find the most of?
I don't know, rocks?
Freaking bowls.
Bowls?
Bowls everywhere. In Rome proper, right? Bowls upon bowls upon bowls.
That's very interesting.
What's the high school over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really? we should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Do you have a son or daughter who has special needs age 14 or older? Register them today for Genesis Church's Night to Shine prom, sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation at nighttoshinetally.com. The 5th annual community-wide event being hosted by Genesis Church at the center of Tallahassee on February 8th from 5 to 9 p.m. Every guest with special needs will be given the true VIP treatment, including a red carpet entrance, complete with limousine rides, paparazzi, hair and makeup done by Aveda and Cabellos, flowers, shoe shines, food, karaoke, and dancing. At the end of the night, all of our guests will be named kings and queens of the prom. Register your guest or volunteer today at nighttoshinetally.com. That's nighttoshinetally.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Real cool story about this song, by the way. The genesis of Steely Dan started on a night that this song is written about, in which his college roommate and friend Chevy Chase was playing drums. How crazy is that? Small world, man.
It is a small world. Chevy's an interesting dude.
Apparently a raging prick, but an all-time smart and interesting guy to boot. A lot of people are, man. Tends to be the way.
Raging, yes.
Is that frowned upon? the descriptor?
Well, can't do anything about it now.
It's beyond the 7. It's beyond the 7 seconds. Yep. Send your emails to Tom Lang.
Send them to Michael@warchant.com.
There
that's
you go.
Michael.
He loves
That's
it.
an old podcast joke when I did the War Chant podcast.
Oh, that's good. Speaking of which, watching carefully. Let's get those yeses. Let's hear we're headed to Florida State. Let's go. Ring, ring, ring.
Send them the notes like a middle school.
Yeah. I want to hear the good news. There's a good cough for you. That's broadcasting beauty right there. So it's been a bit of a mystery how the Patriots have for so long sustained a level of excellence that the rest of the league can't touch. Nobody's even close. There's a lot of fly-by-night teams. There are teams that come and go that have some intermediate success. I suppose, Tom, the Steelers would be the next most consistent, along with Seattle, in the last decade or so, team next to the Patriots. Anybody else that you'd throw on that list?
Pittsburgh has a couple of Super Bowls, lost one to Green Bay.
Seattle
got one and came up short in another to the Patriots because not because of anything Tom Brady did, really, mostly because of something Pete Carroll did. But
well, Brady was brilliant in the second half of that game, though.
He was.
He was perfect.
He didn't have the ball inside the 5. That was over.
But he had just given him the lead, is what I'm saying. He had done good things. He gets credit for that. It's just that the final play call, frankly, that's another stroke of genius, and you know that inside story that is told about the offseason and him trying to figure out a goal line package.
But you know what it does, though?
It makes you angry.
It encourages behavior, like paranoid behavior.
Yeah.
Because the situation
worked,
come up.
And it did happen, and it was to win the Super Bowl on the last play.
It's like the worst thing you could do to a paranoid person is prove that it's correct,
that
they should be paranoid.
Right.
Even if it's a 1 in a million situation, now they're screwed for life.
Well, right. It's you're a conspiracy theorist, and you think that about 100 things. If one of them is proven true, then in your mind, they're all true. Because, see? All right. So how is it, and I've wondered this, that in a league that has so much turnover, players come and go, and a lot of New England Patriot players have come and gone on to play for other franchises. We see it all the time.
Le Batard had James Harrison on today. They're talking about his days as a Patriot. And I went, oh, my God, he was a Patriot for a brief moment.
Like for a second. You know who else was, by the way? For like literally a second, it seems like.
Chad Johnson?
Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne.
Nobody remembers that. I didn't until I read it this morning. I went, Reggie, what the hell? but he was. And there are a lot of people like that where you go through, you're like, he played with the, because they'll take those flyers and see if they've got anything left. I mean, I think once they had the success that they did with any number of players, Corey Dillon being one of them, even Fred Taylor to an extent, but Randy Moss obviously setting records. That was different.
Why'd they get rid of him? He would have still been fine next year.
They were determined, right, at that point to continue to give these guys a try. But there was an article today about how that's done and the genius of Bill Belichick and the system, and they were interviewing players. And what I was thinking was, Tom, okay, so there's nothing new under the sun. If look at all the people that work for Nick Saban, that have worked for Nick Saban and then gone on to other jobs. Jimbo sought to obviously emulate everything he learned about Nick Saban and a program build and a process. I mean, he adapted every single principle of Nick Saban's program.
Short of the accent, yes. I mean, like that he spoke with. I mean, it was like Kobe and Michael. You know what I mean?
Literally idolized everything about Saban, used the same verbiage, set up practice the exact same way, utilized the same principles in recruiting for the measurables, if you will, and projecting players and looking. You have to be a certain size and weight for certain positions. The exceptions are that you have better natural skills in another area that would allow me to ignore the fact that you're 2 inches too short for my average, at the position. That's all real. And that's the kind of stuff that Jimbo took from Saban.
He was so good at it, too, independent of Saban. He learned the methods, but he knew. He had the eye.
Oh, player evaluation was always, I thought, his greatest skill.
Wow.
Yeah. But now, so here's the deal. He took it, applied it, and won a national championship. In addition to winning a national championship, he quickly rebuilt Florida State into a juggernaut, won 29 straight games, and was the envy of college football. So it seems to me more would do that. More people would do that. It's not easy because you don't always have the same resources and you can't, there are a lot of other mitigating factors. But in the NFL where there's a salary cap, everybody can spend the same exact amount of money. And there's nobody that has a distinct advantage over another team. The money's the money. You can, now, yeah, you could argue that it's better to live in Boston than it is Cleveland or something like that. But other than that, you don't have a distinct advantage. So why don't these coaches, of which there have been a myriad, or players, when they go somewhere else, say, you should do it the way they do it, because the way they do it is 100% proven. Now, we don't have Tom Brady, and our quarterback is going to make poor decisions more frequently than he does. However, the genius, allegedly, is born out of the practice methods, game planning, and certainly getting people to buy into a way of going about your business on a daily basis. The Patriot way, you either do or you don't. You're out if you don't. Everybody in that locker room agrees with it. They don't have to like it, and they don't. Willie McGinnis and many others have said it sucks. It's hard. Like these guys, you sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice. And if you don't, you're gone. But if you like winning, that's where you want to go. Why doesn't everybody just do that? I know that's such a simpleton's way of viewing things, but why don't they copy that? I'm blown away by this.
Well, there's a couple of things. I think number one is it's the path to the title for the Patriots. I mean,
it's rarely, a lot easier in that division. Sure.
Rarely are they challenged. Think about it this way. I was looking. They do a rewind feature on SB Nation, and I put them up sometimes on our Facebook page. It's like on this day in history thing that Superloop sponsors, and they were doing the Rams and the Titans game. From all those years ago, 23-16, the Rams won, and it was the Dyson coming up a half yard short.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you go all the way back there, and you think about that era and how the Patriots end up winning a couple of seasons later. First of all, they need to be a little bit lucky in order to win the whole thing. It's sheer luck. You have the Tuck rule. You have a backup quarterback that nobody heard of.
Well, right. No, there's no question.
And you're facing the greatest show on turf. And, yes, Belichick's an incredible game planner, right?
No, you have to have a strong dose even of good fortune.
Yes.
But the only way you get to take advantage of that good fortune or the breaks or the benefits or whatever happens to go your way is to be in position year in and year out to then not only capitalize, but capitalize to the extent that they do. If you go 6-10, it doesn't matter. So,
well, that's right. I mean, but okay, that year where the Rams are playing the Titans, right? The Titans went 13-3, finished second in the division to Jacksonville. Remember, Jacksonville went 14-2 that year. When does that happen to the Patriots? But really, I mean, they went 11-5 one time with Matt Castle.
But still, this year, for example, they had to go on the road and face the team who probably wowed us more than any other this year, not named the Rams, in frigid conditions and do it and win it.
Right.
And in overtime.
But what I'm saying is one thing that contributes heavily is that they're always in the playoffs. There's this one exception. Everybody points at 11-5. How do you not go to the playoffs? That's ridiculous.
It was Castle's year, right?
I mean, yes, but exactly. But we're talking about 17 years now, 17 years worth of Super Bowls, 2002 Super Bowl to 2019 Super Bowl, where they're always in the tournament. They always have a chance to be there, and then you give that guy a chance in the playoffs to scheme for one game, not a month. You know what I mean? And that's what you get. You get a better.
They have benefited, no doubt, from being in a cartoonishly bad division with buffoons at the helm everywhere around
for nearly 20
years.
Sure,
but they then always seem to, not always, but certainly in their path to get to the Super Bowl, they have to best really good coaches and really good teams, and they always do. Every year, and it's so freaking annoying.
The margin in those games, a lot of the time,
well, they could be 0-for-8. Yes, I understand. They could have all those games, and I've seen those articles are interesting.
They could have won both the Giants games.
They probably should have. Certainly won one of them if it's not for that ridiculous ass. Well, here's the thing. The article today that I read in the Washington Post was fascinating because they were trying to reach out to the most knowledgeable observers and coaches and players about how it is they've maintained a perfection-crazed level of commitment, right, to week in and week out, year in and year out, season in and season. Like, the Saban greatness to me isn't just that he has a plan, he adheres to said plan, comes up with, develops, and teaches that plan, and then gets everybody to buy in. It's that when it's successful, as it has been to say the least, he never backs off. There's no letdown. It's the on to the next one, on to the next one. Like, there's no satisfaction. So you have to have somebody who's maniacal, who's not subject to the whims of emotion the way that normal human beings are upon reaching the summit.
But you've got to have a payoff. And what I'm saying is about that first title is they had a lot of breaks go their way. Even the great injury that's supposed to be the death knell to your playoff hopes
and
ends
it turns
up
out your sixth-round draft pick is better and is going to go on to be the greatest quarterback in the history of the game.
And we win the Super Bowl the next year, and then it's their world ever since then.
That's right.
But you need to have the payoff so guys know that, oh, well, this works. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. You can't be finishing 8 every year.
Well, let's say Oakland goes on to win the Super Bowl that year. Maybe guys get tired of hearing. Yeah. Maybe they get tired of hearing what Bill has to say, and so it never gets molded. It never gets a chance to start.
Well, but what I would, yes, perhaps, but I would argue, because there are enough people that have worked for him and gone on to other places, to say that they all admire the culture he creates, and he was on the path to doing that. That's the reason they were in the position they were in, is that he had learned from the mistakes he made in Cleveland, went to New England and decided, okay, if I ever get this chance again, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to not do some of the dumb things I did in Cleveland, and he began to apply those. So they were in the playoffs for that reason. They were in that game for that reason, because he had already begun to flip a franchise, completely turn it around. Let's not forget, Pete Carroll was in New England.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this is a guy who came in and decided, I'm switching up a few things with my methodology. I'm going to get guys to buy in. But what I think is interesting, and I'm just surprised.
He had a good owner, too. I mean, Kraft comes in, and that helps. Yeah.
And it is obviously easier said than done, because everybody would love to replicate exactly what New England does, but nobody does. It's really interesting, because it's a complex thing to try to understand what breathes life into that monster every year. When they look down and out, when age hits them, when injury hits them, when they have adversity, they always end up falling back on these things that nobody else has been able to replicate.
But I think the turnover is part of it, too. It's like nobody's safe except Brady. I mean, not Edelman, not Gronk. I mean, nobody's safe. If they're gone, they're gone, and they move on to the next guy. It's just like the next game principle. So if you walk into that organization and you sign a contract, you could be cut at any time. I'm not going to step out of line to hold out for my contract.
Correct.
He's going to say, the hell with you. I don't care.
This week featured a lot of questions to players, former players and others, about why they think it works. And Aqib Talib was asked about it, of course, and he would have insight. And he said, well, they're always on point, quote, they throw the ball so fast you can't get to them, but they're always on point. That's tough to do. Everybody in the stadium, everybody in the world watching that game knew that Brady would be looking to Edelman or Gronkowski on 3rd and 10, and they still got open, and they still made the plays. That's hard to do. And that's fascinating because, yes, I think certainly the Chiefs knew it was going to one of those two places, and both times it not only, one's a mistake, one's a bust in coverage, a confusion, and you watch it. I told you. Did you go back and look at that?
Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
He comes off the line waving his hand.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
I also watched Peyton Manning break him down on the ESPN Plus, which is great. And it talks about some things that Jimbo talked about, which is if you go with bigger personnel, defenses can't be exotic.
That's right.
Their personnel has to match yours, and they have to tell you what they're doing.
They have to tell you exactly what they're doing.
And if Tom knows what you're doing, he knows all the weaknesses, and then it's just about execution.
But also that throw to Gronkowski on 3rd and 10 is a dime. I mean, it is. I'm not talking about the deep throw on the wide side. I'm talking about the one in the slot that is between two defenders, and it comes out his hand right now, and it is here. You could not catch it. He almost walked up and handed it to him.
Well, and of course it goes back to the fact that you do have Brady. It helps just a little bit to be this type of dynasty, not to place
you got to have an all-time
Belichick
great player. Yeah. So it's fascinating because a lot of the coaches and players that were interviewed in this piece talked about how when you go to their practices, you realize it is different from every other practice, and that's the part that amazes me. Why? Why don't all these other coaches at least try? No, you don't have Brady. No, you don't have certain guys, certain personnel. You don't have Gronk. But do what they're doing. Enough of these guys have been either with the organization or played for the organization. Certainly those secrets are out. Reggie Wayne, aforementioned, 11 days. He only spent 11 days with the Patriots as a free agent in 2015, then decided, I think I'm going to have to retire. But he had a legendary work ethic, right? So that's why they took a chance on him. They said, he'll come right in and he'll work his ass off and we'll get whatever's left in there out of him. And then he got there and he thought, I'm actually going to retire. But he was struck by, quote, the absoluteness of their concentration and absorption with details that might become critical inflection points in big games. In one 45-minute meeting on, quote, situational football, they reviewed not only the 2-minute offense, but how players are to give the ball back to the referee after the play ends.
Oh, boy.
Quote, a lot of guys, you'll see them get up and toss the ball to the ref. Belichick said, don't do that. I don't know if he can catch. Hand him the ball. We'll save precious seconds that way.
Well, there's a purpose, so he ties a purpose to it.
I love that he said, I don't know if he can catch. Hand him the ball. Yeah. I've thought of that before, too, by the way. I've thought that was something in passing people would say. Like, don't toss him the ball, man. Give him the ball. Homeboy is slow as all get out.
Right.
And I don't know if he can catch.
I'm going to have to double-check this delay. If you were working it overtime, it's like a dead hamster in the wheel.
So they were drilled to sprint to the ref and hand it to him in order to get a quicker spot and save a second. They would go over it and over it and over it again, said Wayne. And they never seemed to resent the monotony of it all.
Well, there you go. That's a good secret. Don't we all resent monotony?
It's awesome.
They don't.
The conversation of time begins the moment they walk in the building. Quote, look, if you show up 1 minute late with them, they'll tell you to go home for the day. You're kicked out of practice for the day. They set more alarms than any other team that I've ever seen, said Talib. There's an alarm going off at all time in the name of habit forming. That place sounds like hell.
Well, I mean, think Malcolm Butler, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had the issue with Malcolm Butler last year, and everybody was knocking them, and here they are again. Doesn't matter.
The time sacrifice requires cooperation from spouses. Devin McCourty, safety, said that his wife will often say, go watch film. I want you to go to the Super Bowl. I've got the kids. Go do what you need to do. Brady remarked this week that he has spent more time with Belichick in his life than he did with his parents. He was serious. Willie McGinnis, defensive cornerstone of the Patriots from 2001 through 2004, quote, I used to try to beat Belichick to the office. I would get there at 5 in the morning. When he saw that I was coming in at 5, he began to get there at 4:30. The sense of urgency permeates the building, he says, down to the laundry staff. If a uniformed guy doesn't have the uniforms ready to go when they show up, somebody is in that ass. Quote, unquote.
Quote, unquote.
McGinnis, Willie McGinnis. Quote, unquote. The same is true on the practice field where the coaches, if they're not ready for their positional drills, will get screamed down by Belichick. This is an incredible article.
This is an all-time segment is what this is.
I'm loving how you're fretting over that. That's a quote. That's a quote.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sorry for the uniform guy. I was just picturing his hands shaking at 4:30 in the morning. He's going to be here any second. Are they ready,
Bill,
Daddy?
my kid has pneumonia. Well, you'll get to spend more time with him.
Oh, my God.
Go work for the Bruins. I hear they need a laundry guy.
You get all the time you need. That's just the uniform guy. I'm just picturing this poor man. Oh, hurry up, dryer. Hurry up. You got a nickel.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Are not allowed to trade for Davis this season, but if they get him in the offseason, they feel Kyrie Irving would stay in Boston. ESPN has learned Knicks forward Kristaps Porzingis met with team management today and expressed concern with the direction of the franchise. Porzingis hasn't played yet this season. He's coming back from a torn ACL almost a year ago. 2 weeks of talk about the blown call in the Saints-Rams NFC Championship game will finally end, maybe, with Super Bowl 53 on Sunday. Panthers tight end Greg Olsen.
If I was voting, I would vote no. And I know the Saints are up in arms, and I would be too. If I was a Saints fan or a player on that team, I understand living in the moment and understanding you're a pass interference call for most likely going to the Super Bowl. I get that. The reality is that's not the first blown call in NFL history. If Zuerlein misses the field goal, no one's even talking about it because the Saints win anyway.
Thank you.
Right? So we can't let the end result all of a sudden now scrap everything else that we've laid into play over one missed call.
Greg Olsen on Golic and Wingo at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. The Rams and Patriots meet on Sunday. Alabama high schooler Maori Davenport can keep playing basketball. A hearing in her family's lawsuit against the state has been delayed again. Davenport was ruled ineligible after she deposited a check for about $850 that was mistakenly sent to her by USA Basketball after she played for the under-18 team in August.
Dust off your cleats. It's time again to hit the field. The registration deadline for the City of Tallahassee Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Affairs Department's Spring Adult and Youth Sports Leagues is quickly approaching. Youth 4 to 18 can participate in softball and baseball, and adults 18 years of age and older can sign up a team to participate in softball and flag football. Spots are limited, so be sure to sign up before February 6th to guarantee your spot and to avoid penalties. Visit talgov.com today to see how you or your child can join in on the fun.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shop's work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Scherer Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
Guys, are you tired of being tired? Frustrated because it seems impossible to lose belly fat? If you're looking for a solution, listen to Dave.
Andro 400, I really love it. I've lost 50 pounds. I was a size 38 waist. I've gone down to a 32 waist. My mood has changed. I don't get stressed out. It gave me so much more energy. It feels like I'm 25. I'm so happy. I'm just a completely different man.
Andro 400 Max, an extra strength, all natural testosterone booster. The safe and affordable way to gain energy and lose stubborn belly fat. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Go to andro400.com or call 888-510-9336. That's 888-510-9336.
Hey, Seminole fans, the weather's still chilly, but the prices are hot, hot, hot during the winter clearance event happening now at Garnet & Gold. For a limited time only, take an unbelievable 40% off regular priced Florida State outerwear, including jackets, sweats, and long sleeve tees. And take an additional 30% off all clearance items. Save big time during the winter clearance event on now at all 3 Garnet & Gold locations, West Pensacola Street, Killarn, and our flagship store on Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
At Township and College Town, for the table, by the people is not just lip service, it's their mantra. Tallahassee's largest beer hall offers drafts served in steins and a unique twist on upscale pub fare. Just walk up and order for the table and grab a seat by the people. Some you may not even know. If you're looking for a more intimate gathering, Township offers The Garden, a unique setting to Tallahassee complete with outdoor fireplace and a retractable awning. Oh, and let's not forget the 32 taps and private bar. Book it for your next party or company event. Township Tallahassee, 619 Woodward Avenue in Collegetown.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm laughing at some of your responses to our most colorful hour. Good stuff. A lot of fun. It's okay, buddy. I stopped just short. We ran to the line. We got right up on that line.
No, it's not an over the line.
No, just got close to it.
It was close, Smokey. You know.
Yeah.
Watch those toes.
It's a league game. I can't wait till later in the show when I get into the Eugene Robinson story from all those years ago. Woo! That's good stuff. Still makes me laugh just to think about it. At some point, we do need to have Willie McGinnis on, though. You were right. We were just talking during the break. They try to get Willie McGinnis to come on the airwaves here occasionally, and now I want to talk to him about all this level of discipline to where the uniform guy is scared. That was his quote about the yeah.
It's just so believable, too. That's why it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like Belichick would actually call that guy into his office.
There's no doubt about it. He would call him into his office, and he would probably give him another chance. You know, one of the things that I find to be true about these guys that are the most discipline-oriented and almost over-the-top in efforts to control every aspect of a team is that while they can be impossible to be around, that they're also guys that frequently have kind of a secret side that they don't like to see revealed, which is kindness to the underlings of the organization. And I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's humble beginnings. It pretty much has to be.
Well, go back to NFL Network specials they do. I forget what they're called, but it's like a little documentary of football life.
And they're all really good.
They're all good. And so you look at the Browns organization in the 90s, and you look at, Saban's there with the glasses and the mullet.
Looking like a,
Well, he's a young man there.
Yeah.
And you see all these coaches that household names in the past 20 years. But they're sharing like dorm room situations, like crappy apartments, and they're just sleeping on cots in these apartments. Coaches have humble beginnings. They've all been a grad assistant or assistant coach somewhere that they didn't want to be, but they work their butt off at 16, 20 hours a day.
I swear, I've never been more impressed in terms of diligence and commitment than when you're around football coaches in either the college or pro game. They're paid handsomely, obviously, but the requirements of their time really are unreasonable, and it's why they're not always the healthiest of people.
Yeah, but who's it easier to work for in any business? It's somebody who's worked their way up in the organization,
Certainly.
Or somebody who had it handed to him because it was a trust fund thing?
Yeah, a meritocracy is where it's at. Sure, you want somebody that put in the time and learned and did things the right way, the hard way, and the long way.
Because you can't say anything to them when they say you need to work harder. What are you going to say to that guy? You know what I mean?
It's the importance of having your best player echo the sentiments of the coaches and really kind of late. Look, do you think anybody's working harder on the Patriots besides Bill Belichick than Tom Brady?
No. And again, earlier today in several interviews, but I mean, obviously this is what happens in a Patriots Super Bowl week, which is an annual event. But they talk about Tom Brady, and when James Harrison was on Le Batard today, he was talking about how he didn't want to like him when he got there because of all the rivalry years and being a Steeler for so long.
Sure.
And he said when LeGarrette Blount came over to Pittsburgh and he asked him about Brady, Blount said that Tom is a great guy, you're going to love him. And he still didn't want to believe it. So when he signed with the Patriots, he got there to the organization. He said, Tom said, hello, welcome me to the team. And he thought, well, he's just saying what he has to say to get by. But then as I watched him, Harrison described it. He said, as I watched him, everything he did, he was the same guy to an equipment manager.
As he was, too.
Well, because they were deflating his footballs. But he was the same guy.
Which I'm fine with, by the way.
And he said, and nobody worked harder than him. It's true. So you walk away and you want to not like him, but you have to like him because he's lockstep, man.
Remember how much Jimbo loved him? Remember when that commercial came out where there's 100 Tom Brady's doing the side twists and all that?
Yeah, every single day.
Jimbo was almost in tears watching that commercial. He thought it was so beautiful.
That's correct.
They want a robot.
He needed privacy, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get really annoyed, and I'll move on from all this New England talk here in a second, but here's one for you, buddy. In 1978, as he began his second NFL season as the Denver Broncos punter, Bucky Dilts struck up an ongoing conversation with a curious coaching intern, a kid only 1 year older than he was. The intern prepped Dilts with questions. He always wanted to understand why, and he showed keen interest in the impact of Dilts kicking left-footed, something to which Dilts had given little thought to. Want to punt some? The intern would ask Dilts. And then Bill Belichick, Denver's 26-year-old special teams assistant, would run 50 yards down the field in order to try to catch Dilts' punts. I found out later he was trying to understand the reverse spin and if it was harder to catch from a left-footed punter or not.
Oh, my God. But to answer your question, humble beginnings, special teams assistant in Denver, in those days when the NFL wasn't exactly paying assistant coaches, let alone assistants to a coordinator.
Chatting up the punter before practice and asking him if he would like to punt some and then sprinting 50 yards down there to catch them because he's curious about the spin from a left-footed punter. Okay.
And he understands paying your dues. That's what that respect is. Has to be.
I mean, that's 4 decades have passed since Bill Belichick's first days in the NFL, and in them he has stuffed 12 trips to the Super Bowl, either as an assistant or head coach. Think about that. Now, there's a legacy. To be in coaching that long and to have gone to 12 Super Bowls. Good Lord. Wonder what his favorite ring is. That would be an interesting question. Which season? He probably wouldn't tell you while he's actively coaching. But I wonder what's the one that he holds most near and dear? His first as a head coach?
Maybe 28-3 because of overcoming the adversity. It's like when Saban beat Clemson and they called the fake kickoff.
Yeah.
They called the onside kick.
You could see him.
He was so happy.
Knew it.
That's like the happiest he's ever been about anything.
Gotcha.
It's raining.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Whitting Glass.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Recently, I've seen a lot of commercials from attorneys and public adjusters trying to cash in on the hurricane damages to your home or business. Using these individuals could result in a reduction in your insurance claim reimbursement. As a licensed roofing and general contractor, we know how to navigate insurance claims so that you don't have to share your reimbursement with an attorney or a public adjuster. If you have questions, give us a call. Our advice is free. Turning your claim over to an attorney or a public adjuster is not.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, tsparkconstruction.com.
Hi, this is Gene Deckeroff for Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. 2019 is here, and we've got to get rid of all the remaining 2018s. And the only way to do that is to offer employee pricing on over 50 Jeep Wranglers in stock. We've never been able to offer such unbelievable prices on Jeep Wranglers, and with over 50 in stock, they all must go. Buy one for as low as $29,900 or save up to $5,600 on in-stock vehicles. The all-new 2019 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and it's breaking all kinds of records. We have over 80 Ram 1500s in stock with up to $11,000 off MSRP. You can't go wrong. Motor Trend Truck of the Year and up to $11,000 off MSRP. It's the deal of the year. There's only one place to go. Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Or visit us on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
Credit products are made by WebBank. Rates and terms vary based on credit history. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
How did I get into credit card debt? A trip to the emergency room.
Car repairs.
Moving expenses?
There's a million ways to get into credit card debt, but one sure way to start getting out: Avant. Avant offers access to online unsecured loans from $2,000 to $35,000 at competitive rates and no extra charges for paying back early. Over 500,000 customers have experienced the convenience of a loan through Avant. No wonder Avant has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. The application takes minutes, and if approved by 4:30 p.m. Central Time Monday through Friday, funds are deposited as soon as the next business day. And now Avant will also give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first payment is made on time. To check your loan options and to get this special radio offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 4949 when applying. That's AVANT.com, promo code 4949. Avant.com, code 4949.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
With the Bloomberg Business of Sports Report, I'm Michael Barr. Atlanta is Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola is Atlanta. But Pepsi is having some fun with its status as Super Bowl sponsor this year. About 2 blocks south of the World of Coca-Cola, an attraction in downtown Atlanta where visitors pass under a lighted 27-foot tall Coke bottle. The marketing team at its soft drink rival has erected a billboard with a teasing message: Pepsi in Atlanta, how refreshing. While there will only be one Super Bowl champion on the field, CBS will certainly lay claim to a hefty return no matter the outcome. Prices for a 30-second advertising spot during the network's broadcast of the February 3rd matchup between the New England Patriots and Los Angeles Rams are peaking at $5.1 to $5.3 million. That's according to Kantar Media and Bloomberg Intelligence. It should help generate $500 million in sales for CBS. And that is a Bloomberg Business of Sports report. I'm Michael Barr.
At CDW, we get when there's something going around the office. It's smart to work away from the office. Gesundheit. That's why you should have CDW orchestrate a mobility solution using the Lenovo ThinkPad 480 with Intel 8th Generation Core processor. It'll keep you productive everywhere, even out of the office. Does anyone have hand sanitizer? IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Lenovo Client.
As a doctor who provided medical care to remote islands, Dr. Ben Lebreau has seen some things.
Piracy, hurricanes, being struck by lightning.
While most of us can't relate to confrontations with pirates, we get that life and work come with a certain amount of risk. But your retirement shouldn't. Dr. Ben purchased an annuity to secure a guaranteed monthly retirement income for life, so his money won't stop working when he does. Find out if an annuity is right to protect your future at retireyourrisk.org.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. You can go there. You can stream. You can also go back, get caught up. We'll post the show there once it's concluded, and also on iTunes, of course. You can email us as well, jcs@979ESPNradio.com. Who's the one guy you want out of this group that we've been hyper-focused on? Who's the player that you have to have? Is it, a Kershawn Fuller, or who do you like? Do you want the quarterback? It's all offensive line. Are you in the same boat I am?
Yeah, it's Ira Henry is the guy I want. I mean, I think Nick Cross is going to be a really good player. I think he's probably the best at his position, guaranteed. If you're just looking at percentage chance, he's going to pan out.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate the fact that he's trending towards Penn State at this point. But Ira Henry looks like somebody you take a chance on. And chances are if you get one of the two between Ira Henry or Kamar Bell, you're going to get the other. They want to play together. So if you can get those two to come in, they may materialize into nothing, but I want to feel good on signing day. We got more offensive linemen.
Yeah, I want bodies. I want to throw a ton of bodies at the problem and hope like hell at the bare minimum you get 2 or 3 guys that can change your fortunes there. You mentioned Nick Cross. It's a shame too. I don't know if that's an unhealthy situation, so I guess I shouldn't speculate. But you hear the rumor is certainly that he loves Florida State and wants to come to Florida State. But his parents are pushing big time for Penn State. They love it there. They prefer the school, and they want him desperately to go to Penn State. And so Florida State's people fear, understandably so, that that's where he's going to end up, despite being a commit to Florida State. And so that's a shame if the kid really wants to go somewhere. I always just hate reading stories that seem to imply parents living vicariously through their kids instead of letting kids make choices here.
Well, it's the hard part is you don't know what's going on in that living room.
You don't.
Between the line of, parents wanting the best for their kid and coming to an agreement that, hey, I love Penn State. I love Florida State the most. But if you guys think that Penn State is better for me, then I'll be happy there too. Versus,
it could be completely healthy.
Versus you're not going anywhere except Penn State.
It could be completely healthy, and I don't want to speculate. I'm just noting that whenever I read that from the outside, I cringe a little because we've seen so many examples where it wasn't healthy, where it was downright destructive and sad and pitiful and unwarranted. And, it's your kid. I get it, and you want what's best for him. But at that point, you got to let a kid make a decision. It's his decision. He's going away to college, man. This is a big, big one. And if he's passionate about a place, now obviously in this case I'm biased. He wants to come to Florida State. Let the man come to Florida State, Mom and Dad.
Sometimes it goes the other way too. I mean, sometimes you get a kid that doesn't want to be there as a number one, and you do end up landing in services against the best wishes of their parent.
Yeah,
we lost a couple of those this year because we lost football games in droves. That their parents loved it here, but the kid was like,
we're not any
listen,
good.
I want to put myself in a position to succeed here.
I want to win games. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you would sacrifice if it were a choice, and it's really not, but if there were a choice, you'd say, okay, I'll sacrifice, Nick Cross if it means that we're going to get Kamar Bell, Ira Henry, Darius Washington. You want to throw in somebody on the other side of the ball or throw in an athlete.
No, you could stop
Alante Brown or something like that.
You could stop, and leave things up to chance outside of Bell and Henry. I'd trade Bell and Henry for Cross. I would.
Really?
Yeah. We need offensive linemen badly, and we have.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying it the other way. I thought you were saying you'd give them Bell and Henry for Cross.
No, sorry.
Oh, yeah. So I just heard. Okay. Yeah, no, we need offensive linemen. I agree. That's why I was surprised. I was like, whoa.
You could leave Washington up to chance. You could leave Alante Brown up to chance, whatever. I mean, a receiver would be nice, whatever. But if we could get those two guys away from Auburn together. Okay, good.
So what's the deal with defensive tackle Charles Moore? What's the story on that guy?
The story is he went from white hot in interest to just,
not
as cold as can be. Yeah. Well, he likes wherever he's been. Now, that predated his visit to Florida State this past weekend.
He's one of those kids that wherever he goes last is going to be the one.
Yes. The coaches felt good, but then he didn't bring his folks with him this past weekend. And it's a cliche term. I've heard it on every one of the networks over the years, but the visit high. The visit high wore off. You get away from campus and you start thinking about things.
I can see how that would be, sure.
And it sounds like we're just completely off of it. We're done. Like we're not even talking to him at this point because we know that it's going to be a waste of time and a very critical week for us.
Yeah, well, you do certainly have to prioritize. It's odd to me that here we sit so hyper-focused on linemen when, in fact, there's a quarterback in Lance Lejeune in the class, and you add him. And, I called around today to people who do this, and they all told me, yeah, he can play, that he's a real good athlete, real good runner.
He would fit the system,
Fit the system well, a decent passer in terms of accuracy. It's not a lack of arm strength. He's got that, and he's got mobility for days, and you could spread people out and get him moving. That's interesting. That just shows you the desperation that we're in for linemen when you have a kid who's well thought of as a player. Now, I know there are great issues that people are concerned about with him, and so that, there's nothing you can do about that. You can speculate all you want, but we'll see if they get him in. I'm hearing good things about that, by the way. But so let's say that happens. That's reason to be excited. I mean, we're a little thin there. You need another body. You need another guy.
Absolutely. You're talking about the line or quarterback because it would apply to both.
Quarterback.
Well, and then you get Reese Plumlee in here this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The Mississippi schools are in for his services. He's committed to Georgia right now, but he ain't going to Georgia. So you see what kind of work you can do when he gets on campus this weekend. I know that the staff would like to take both. And people, I'm not mining for this information myself. I'm regurgitating information I get from both War Chant and Knowles 24/7. So I'm not making phone calls to parents to see what their kids are interested in.
The Reese Plumlee kid is the 6-foot kid, right? He's not a big kid.
I think he's shorter than
yeah. But he's well thought of, and he's
a dual threat. I mean, it fits the system. It fits what we're trying to do. And frankly speaking, you just want to get all these kids to say yes and then out-recruit them next year because we start winning on the football field. You know what I mean? And so now these kids end up being depth reserves or whatever. But you want to have at least a baseline of talent that you can make some lemonade.
Raise it up, man.
You're making some lemonade with a bad season, and then next year you go in for the kill, and you're back in that top 10, top 5, like you should be, like we were told we were going to see every year.
And I don't know what the fan base's perspective on this is, and I haven't talked to a lot of people about recruiting. That's not typically my thing. I am locked in these days, but I kept feeling like, man, if you somehow secure a top 15 class after the nightmare that we just had, I'd say that's a success. Is it over the top, thrilled to have it? No, but is it pretty good given what the mess you were? Yeah, you'd take that and then some. And more importantly, needs, again, trying to fill needs. It's interesting because the question I get asked the most obviously involves offensive line, but the next question you get is about linebacker. And, oh, by the way, we're not talking about it, but Florida State's done well there. Like, there's reason. So we try to project, can you get to slightly below average or average on the offensive line going into next year? Because if you do that, it's a huge upgrade from where you were. Well, listen, last year in the second half of the season, I felt like I was talking every day about how poor our linebacker play was, how small we were and how poorly we played and how exploited we were at that position in particular. Really anything post-NC State seemed to suggest, these guys now know the secret's out. You got to attack their linebackers. They're not any good. And then you had some exceptions, moments in the sun for a couple players.
Yeah, Dontavius, Boston College.
Yeah, he was great in that game. Played like a man possessed, and I don't want to diminish that performance. But by and large, there was inconsistency there. There wasn't no real, it wasn't real talent and depth at the position. And Florida State's much better off right now as we look forward there too. So filling needs, creating some depth, giving yourself a freaking fighting chance to be an average football team to slightly above average football.
Well, can we stop being diminutive at certain positions? I don't want to sacrifice skill for size because you got to be good at the position, but, can we be a little bit bigger?
I don't need to be 205 at linebacker,
that's what I'm saying, and even in the secondary to a degree. That's what this class brings, even if Cross flips to Penn State after this weekend's visit. You have a lot more big, rangy corners and safety types, hybrid types. A lot of guys that look kind of like Hamza does. Where you're like, okay, well, at least they can cover in terms of their body type now. Hamza might be an answer at linebacker for us, maybe down the line here.
The tackling Jesse.
Right. But I want to see if we're going to err on 3 stars or borderline 3-4 stars. Can we at least get a little bit more bulky in certain positions?
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't get physically, tossed around by NC State.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
Jesus.
Yeah, that running back, by the way, who had himself a day for the ages, wasn't any good. I mean, he wasn't. He looked at that day, didn't he? It's crazy.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, time and again.
They're licking their chops watching Florida State film. Can you believe that? I mean, that is
two levels of humiliation last year. There's that, and then there's what Notre Dame did. Here's a little 5-man box for you. You got nothing.
You can't climb to this level.
You're not going to be able to win. You have more hats. You've got more bodies, and you're not going to be able to block us. I mean, that was humiliation at the highest of levels. At Jay Cameron Show, Ryan writes, with Eberle being a surefire first-day draft pick, well done, Ryan, who fills the hole at center? Does Bavion Johnson step up? Nope. Or maybe we move a versatile guy like Bello. Bello better not be out there. And, oh, by the way, do you think it's – and you know what? If I'm wrong, great. I'm rooting for the kid, so this isn't that. But can we write off Bavion Johnson now? I mean, listen, that guy couldn't find the field when we were starting a backup defensive tackle at guard.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's just brutal because he was the number one prospect projecting to be center. He hadn't learned the position yet.
Swung and missed. Yeah. He can't snap.
He can't snap the ball.
Can't snap the ball. He can't play center.
You thought Eberle had issues this past year.
So then you move him to guard, and he's not doing anything special there either.
It would need to be one of those incredible developments.
Yeah, I've washed my hands of him. It's over.
Oh, okay.
I'm done. I'm just saying I want you to know.
Well, why do we still have a segment going?
I've moved on of the young man, but it would be a pleasant surprise. I'm rooting for you, Bavion.
Okay.
It just doesn't look like you can play a lick.
I don't know that you're rooting for him.
Well, if he's going to show up and perform, I'm not rooting for that level of suck. I'm rooting for him to do something.
The level of suck is shrouded in mystery because we never saw him on the field.
Yeah, we did.
So
got out there.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about what? Like 30-40% of snaps in one game?
Enough to know you pull his ass. Get him off the field.
It's shrouded in mystery because he couldn't start. So what did it look like Monday through Thursday?
That's what I'm saying.
My point.
When you're like, you know what? Maybe Arthur Williams can play guard. Do you think Greg Fry fell to his knees?
He just didn't look physical enough. That's the hard part about Bavion. He looked so much better pulling left to right, right to left, whereas we had Minshew. I mean, oh, God. You really want to run power and counter with that guy?
Why do we do this to ourselves? We should just stop doing this. It's the dawn of a new day. We're bringing in bodies, buddy. We're bringing in guys.
If you want to prevent these types of moments, stop watching us play football for a while.
Well, just last
year. Check back in 2021.
Just last year. No, I mean, we're gonna step up here. Hang in there. Not if we have to start guys like Bavion. Oh, Tough Love Cameron's here for you now. There you go.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
As engagement season. Now that the season's over, it's time for some planning. Social Catering has several options for your wedding event and catering needs. They're Tallahassee's largest catering company, and they manage event spaces at venues like Madison Social, Township, and The Gathering. They can plan all of your wedding events, engagement parties, bridal brunches, rehearsals, even wedding receptions. No new rock on the finger? Hey, doesn't matter. Whatever the event, they've got you covered. For more details, email matt@madisonsocial.com. Again, that's matt@madisonsocial.com. What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Jeff?
You know, buddy, that I like archaeology, right?
Yeah. I'm quite an anarchist myself.
Right. Well, anyhow, do you know what they find the world over when they excavate? You know the item they find the most of?
I don't know, rocks?
Freaking bowls.
Bowls?
Bowls everywhere. In Rome proper, right? Bowls upon bowls upon bowls.
That's very interesting.
What's the high school over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right. Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Credit products are made by WebBank. Rates and terms vary based on credit history. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
How did I get into credit card debt? A trip to the emergency room.
Car repairs.
Moving expenses?
There's a million ways to get into credit card debt, but one sure way to start getting out: Avant. Avant offers access to online unsecured loans from $2,000 to $35,000 at competitive rates and no extra charges for paying back early. Over 500,000 customers have experienced the convenience of a loan through Avant. No wonder Avant has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. The application takes minutes, and if approved by 4:30 p.m. Central Time Monday through Friday, funds are deposited as soon as the next business day. And now Avant will also give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first payment is made on time. To check your loan options and to get this special radio offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 4949 when applying. That's AVANT.com, promo code 4949. Avant.com, code 4949.
Need help moving? Two Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit twomen.com or call them at 850-224-2232. Two Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
State Farm, this is Bill.
You finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Yeah, year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. They try to fill it, but it always returns. It got me good.
But you know, State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing!
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm. Talk to an agent today.
Hi, I'm Chris York with Monogram Art. While our name mentions monograms, we are a lot more than that. We offer a full line of corporate apparel to businesses and organizations, and we carry clothing brands such as Cutter & Buck, Nike Golf, Port Authority, and caps from Richardson, Outdoor Cap, Ahead, Yupong, and many more. We have the ability to create custom embroidered apparel that your employees will be proud to wear. So swing by our showroom at 2522 Capitol Circle Northeast or find us online at monogramart.com. Let us help you wear your brand.
Hey, this is FAMU beat writer Rory Chirac. Join me Friday at 6 p.m. for the Rattler Review. We're talking all things FAMU. Great interviews with players, coaches, and alumni. The Rattler Review, Fridays at 6 p.m. right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Windows, singing songs about it at PF Soul. And I hear blue strings.
Won't spend any time on the NBA today, buddy, but the 10-40 Knicks are making a move. Are you sad? Do you even care? Porzingis is gone.
It's an ownership change that would have to happen for me to come back. They are now looking like they can sign 2 max players. And I wouldn't even care. They could get Durant and whoever. I wouldn't, pretend to be a fair weather fan there. They have to have a different owner for me to ever even consider investing in the Knicks again. So, whatever.
It's amazing. Actually, you can't look at that and dismiss it easily because I don't think, even when the Pirates were at their lowest, there was certainly always an effort. They didn't have the funds and they made mistakes, but I never felt like they were consistently incompetent to the point where they were not only worth, voiding, but also to be charged with intentional, anguish to the fans, where they just didn't care about the product. It was about the dollar and only the dollar, and nothing that they did really concerned the greater interest of the fan ever. Like, I never felt that way. Like, you can be bad. The Bucks are bad. And they have bad ownership. I don't think they're trying to screw the fans.
No. Well, honestly, of all my teams, the Mets probably push my buttons the most, but I love the Mets more than I ever loved the Knicks. So it's hard for me to walk away.
Yeah. But it's interesting to me that you reached a place, anytime that fans reach a place where they say, you know what, it's not worth it to me to care. I'm not even going to check in. I refuse to be bothered by this. I would have a hard time with that. I'm not saying that you're wrong, because the Knicks have given you ample reasons.
It was the Larry Brown, Isaiah Thomas hirings back to back, or if they weren't back to back.
The Isaiah Thomas one was just unbelievable.
Well, and that comes at a time when I didn't like the NBA period anyway. So I'm like, what am I even doing? Why am I wasting my time watching the NBA? And then it was right around the time I started working as an intern about 10 years ago now, when you had Celtics and Lakers rising to the top, and then you had the Lakers Magic series, and here comes LeBron. He's coming of age. The NBA started to get good again at that point, and there were a lot of teams with different personalities. It ended up turning into this, where you don't even care about the regular season anymore. But there was a rise back where I started to care about the game again. But I didn't invest in the Knicks at that point, because it was the same owners making the same dumbass mistakes, trying to make splash hires and doing nothing of substance to actually build a core and a culture. So, no, I'm not going to waste my time.
Well, now you wonder if it's even – that's the problem they have now in the league. Is it possible? I mean, without somebody deciding to vacate wherever it was, the team that drafted them from said small market, to go to a big market and play for a super team. But I would think the bigger problem in the NBA is, and we'll move forward, is that it's the Golden State Invitational every year. And now that Cousins is apparently healthy and going to add an even greater dimension than they had before, what are we doing?
But I'm not going, again, just because you're talking about fanhood and fandom and whether or not you can do it, I'm not going to be a Knicks fan next year if they could get Durant and somebody else, because now they have max slots and Durant wants to go to the New York media market or something. It's not going to magically happen, because I got to see.
They have to win you back, yeah.
Well, the owner has to. There's got to be a new sheriff in town. The Mets are kind of insulated because I just...
You love them that much?
That's it.
Well, that's the way
if I had a sports tattoo, the Mets would be involved in it, yes.
Yeah, that's the way I am about the Pirates. So it's like, I'm not unreasonable with my expectations, but I love them because I loved them so much as a kid, and going to spring training games in Bradenton and seeing them, and just, yeah. It's funny you bring that up, too, because everybody, listen, presumably the vast majority of people listening to this show are diehard sports fans. And some fandom is transient. Some people are like, no, I can switch. If my team isn't competitive, I'll move on and embrace somebody who is, and until my team can prove to me that I should be a fan of them again. I'm not that way. I'm incredibly loyal, and maybe to a fault at times, where, I will stick by the same three forevermore. But an emblem, a logo, whatever it might be, the color scheme, will hit you in a certain way. More than others that you root for. And for me, and maybe it's because where I played in high school was black and gold as well, but it's black and gold because of the Pirates. And I'm sure that was further fostered by the fact that the Spartans were black and gold. But I'm saying, and I don that uniform, right, to see the black and gold. But I don't know. It's just, I see that. Now, obviously, Florida State for both of us, anybody that goes to a college, you're forever moved by just seeing the uniform on the field. More so when those uniform numbers are white. But, yeah. I saw a picture of LaMarcus Joyner because they were talking about him in the Super Bowl, and he's jumping up, celebrating, and I'm looking at that uniform, and I'm going, that's the right uniform, the jersey color and everything, the number.
Got any openings over there, Florida State? I mean, just a consulting gig. We could help be the liaison to Nike, right?
For uniforms? Yeah. Without question. We would nail it.
Yes, we would.
Well, first of all, the yellow would be gone. So the yellow numbers, the gold numbers would be gone. That's the first thing we would do.
We'd also get the garnet helmet right. We would get that right. You take away the black portion in the
black portion in the back. Get rid of that.
Well, and then the gold on the helmet of the spear, it doesn't even come close to matching what's on the face mask.
Don't do it.
That's ridiculous.
No,
either it's chrome or it's not. I don't want chrome personally.
I don't want chrome. No.
So you want that white gold faded look for the spear that matches the face mask. It looks ridiculous, and it also would be garnet instead of purple on television.
So funny how quickly this devolved into a uniform discussion.
Who likes talking about the Knicks? You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying it's funny that certain uniform combinations, color schemes, whatever it is, jump off the page a little quicker to you. Not out of aesthetically pleasing, but just out of the fact that that particular franchise, program, whatever it might be, means more to you.
Yeah, well, sure.
What if it changes? Like, wonder if, let's say my son goes to school at, I don't know, Stanford. Let's say he goes there. Or
shooting low, are we?
Or wherever, right?
Yeah.
Would I end up caring more about that because he's my son than I do my own?
Depends on how good your team is at the time your son's in school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
That's funny.
If we're going 5-7 and Stanford's competing for a spot in the playoff,
come on,
you got the pullover on.
Let's go,
oh man,
Cardinal. Yeah,
you'll dress up like a tree.
Yeah, I love the tree anyhow. The NCAA Division I Committee on Infractions today banned Missouri's football, baseball, and softball teams from competing in the postseason. The toothless NCAA dropping it down.
If they're going to do that to Missouri, if that's Missouri's fate, I can't imagine what North Carolina is going to see come down their way.
Never. Anything. Ever. They are above the rules. The Blue Bloods in North Carolina caught big-time cheating, systemic for 20 years. Nothing to see here. Let's just move it along.
Yes, they created courses out of thin air.
That didn't exist so that athletes could participate. Yes.
But they benefited all students, not just specifically
the athletes.
So we can't penalize them. I'm sorry.
What an ingenious way to go about cheating. Make sure everybody can cheat, guys. We don't want it to just benefit the athletes. What are you trying to do? Defraud the NCAA? So that's a problem. It's probation and no postseason because of quote unquote academic fraud. The very thing we're talking about. That's a fairly weighty charge for a university to suffer.
So I'll spin the question off to you. Do you want Kelly Bryant here as the quarterback? Why would you go? You can't go to play in the postseason, Kelly.
The penalties were handed down after a 2-year investigation into academic fraud at the SEC institution. The football, baseball, and softball programs will also have a 5% reduction in scholarships. Ouch. That'll hurt your feelings. For the 2019-2020 academic year, they will also have a 7-week ban on unofficial visits, a 12.5% reduction in official visits, a 7-week ban on recruiting communications and off-campus recruiting evaluation.
Wow. This all sounds quite substantial.
The NCAA also fined Missouri plus 1% of its $5,000, whatever, plus 1% of each of its budgets in football, baseball, and softball. In response, their athletic director, Jim Sturck, said, the Committee on Infractions has abused its discretion in applying penalties in this case. You don't say.
You know, you got me there because you sounded like high and mighty and calm, right? Like, oh, the Infractions Committee has abused.
Well, you got to put the emphasis on the key words there.
But you're very calm until you hit that key word.
I'm speaking as him, perturbed as he was. I'm sure he started with a very poised statement. We believe the Committee on Infractions has abused its discretion in applying penalties in this case. The university will immediately appeal this decision that has placed unfair penalties on our department and programs. It's hard to fathom that the university could be cited for exemplary cooperation throughout this case and yet end up with these unprecedented penalties. They could unfairly and adversely impact innocent current and future Missouri student athletes.
Bravo. End scene.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
There's a valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with Easy Laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's Easy Laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Dust off your cleats. It's time again to hit the field. The registration deadline for the City of Tallahassee Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Affairs Department's Spring Adult and Youth Sports Leagues is quickly approaching. Youth 4 to 18 can participate in softball and baseball, and adults 18 years of age and older can sign up a team to participate in softball and flag football. Spots are limited, so be sure to sign up before February 6th to guarantee your spot and to avoid penalties. Visit talgov.com today to see how you or your child can join in on the fun.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, Tallahassee. Thank you for another great year. Tallahassee truly is a Nissan town. Because of that, Nissan has come out swinging in 2019 with January savings like we've never seen before. With up to $5,000 off of 2019 Maximas, Muranos, and Pathfinders. Up to $10,000 off of 2019 Armadas and Titans. You want to save even more? We have a few remaining of most 2018 models that will save you up to an additional $2,500. But wait, it gets better. With our Nissan Zero and Savings event, Kraft Nissan has 0% interest on 14 models, plus 0 down and 0 payments until after April tax day. And our hottest models, the all-new 2019 Altima and the 2019 Rogue, starting at just $21,900. And the all-new Nissan Kick starts at only $18,800 with available 1.9 interest for 60 months. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much. Way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Prices include dealer preparation charge, interest rates with approved credit.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You can do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
Wilson extends the hands. He has it. Wilson, quick throw. And it's
good.
Intercepted. Intercepted by Malcolm Butler. Butler has it at the one. Malcolm Butler stepped in front of the throw.
No way. For the first time, Tallahassee's Sports Monster is your home for the biggest game of the year.
Zero's on the clock. It's over. The Eagles have beaten the New England Patriots.
Super Bowl 53 is on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Westwood One's presentation of Super Bowl 53, brought to you locally by Liberty Tax of Tallahassee, the law office of Jose Fernandez, and by Truck and Car Concepts.
Do you have a son or daughter who has special needs age 14 or older? Register them today for Genesis Church's Night to Shine prom, sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation at nighttoshinetally.com. The 5th annual community-wide event being hosted by Genesis Church at the center of Tallahassee on February 8th from 5 to 9 p.m. Every guest with special needs will be given the true VIP treatment, including a red carpet entrance, complete with limousine rides, paparazzi, hair and makeup done by Aveda and Cabellos, flowers, shoe shines, food, karaoke, and dancing. At the end of the night, all of our guests will be named Kings and Queens of the Prom. Register your guest or volunteer today at nighttoshinetally.com. That's nighttoshinetally.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Mavericks will get Kristaps Porzingis, Courtney Lee, and Tim Hardaway Jr. in a trade with the Knicks New York gets Wesley Matthews, Dennis Smith Jr., and DeAndre Jordan. That deal could also include draft picks. The NBA trade deadline is next Thursday. Adrian Wojnarowski and Zach Lowe are reporting that if the Pelicans trade Anthony Davis to a team other than the Lakers, he will stay there only 1 year and then sign with the Lakers as a free agent in 2020. 2 weeks of talk about the blown call in the Saints-Rams NFC Championship game will finally end, maybe, with Super Bowl 53 on Sunday. Panthers tight end Greg Olsen doesn't want to see replays on missed penalty calls.
If I was voting, I would vote no. And I know the Saints are up in arms, and I would be too. If I was a Saints fan or a player on that team, I understand living in the moment and understanding you're a pass interference call for most likely going to the Super Bowl.
Greg Olsen on Golic and Wingo at the Super Bowl in Atlanta.
It's time for some Straight Talk. You can get the same 4G LTE coverage as the big wireless companies, but pay less with Straight Talk. Great excuse for a celebration dance. Get coverage on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Look at my man, Ed Orgeron. Do we owe him an apology? I don't know. You can decide. Was this a wise move? LSU extending the contract of Ed Orgeron. First of all, he gets credit for being around to have a contract extended. We would have guessed that wouldn't happen.
Correct. That's true.
Orgeron's current contract, which guarantees him $3.5 million annually, runs through 2021. The contract is also loaded with $1.5 million in incentive bonuses, cashed in on the $150,000 incentive for LSU getting to a New Year's Six bowl game, for example. And by the way, LSU and former coach Les Miles settled on a $1.5 million one-time lump sum payment in November. And man, that's a kiss my ass on Main Street moment for old Les Miles before taking the Kansas job, huh?
Put a lot of little jewels on his hat now.
Man. Before the university and Miles reached the settlement, LSU still owed Miles $6.5 million from the buyout following his 2016 firing. So think about what Les Miles did. He took $5 million less than he would have got in order to go work again at his age at Kansas. Could have sat on his ass, say the beach, wherever, and received $6.5 million from now until that was paid up over the next 5 years.
That's integrity. That's what that is.
It's crazy is what that is. That's something Jeff wouldn't do is what that is.
Yeah, you go find a TV network because they would take the hat.
I mean, forget about that. That's nuts. You better be all in on, I mean, seriously, how long do you think it is till Kansas? I guess it just depends on how you would decide. First of all, you'd have to love the game, and he clearly does. Secondly, you like challenges and you're bored. Okay, so clearly he's doing all of that. But Kansas, I mean, we're talking about Kansas.
Man, I would have liked to create a Les Miles Periscope feed where you could watch the game with him. Now, you couldn't have the actual game on the screen because that would violate things. But how about Les's reaction to different things as they're happening? I'll bet that would be phenomenal.
I think it would be, yeah. Orgeron's current two-way buyout clause with LSU is $6 million this year, then drops down to $4.5 million in 2020, eventually falls to $1 million in 2021. Orgeron, by the way, is the 36th highest-paid college football coach in the country. Now, if you're an LSU fan, you're a diehard fan of your program there in the mighty SEC, you probably don't like that there in the SEC you have a coach that is taking in the 36th largest salary, and you got to go against, Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher and Gus Malzahn and Kirby Smart and Dan Mullen and others that all make more.
It'll be interesting what the Gus bus looks like for the next couple of years.
I agree with that.
But yes, if you're talking about trending upward, I mean, you have to say that Jimbo would be trending past LSU at this point, given the way that they're recruiting and the way that LSU is. Sure.
Yeah, and by the way, I noted those coaches, and it's for a reason. All of the coaches that make more than Orgeron on this list in the SEC look like this: Saban, Fisher, Malzahn, Kirby Smart, Dan Mullen, Will Muschamp. Makes sense, right? So does Mark Stoops at Kentucky.
Mark had a good year, though.
Jeremy Pruitt makes more at Tennessee. You know what? Ed Orgeron's paid commiserate to Chad Morris at Arkansas.
Well, then, you know what? The cost per win is pretty cheap because they're getting a good amount of wins for their dollar.
Yeah, they went 10-3. The Tigers, that's the best year. I didn't realize this since 2013. And he was the interim coach named in 2016. And in that time, Ed Orgeron has led LSU to a 25-9 record. You know.
Well, he may have made some potato chips for somebody, too, because that UCF game, you could see it in his eyes that it mattered to him. And that doesn't always matter. The UCF game doesn't always matter in the postseason. We know that with Auburn last year.
Yeah, we saw that. No, I don't disagree with you.
He cared deeply about that game, and he got his kids to care deeply about that game.
Speaking of football, staying with the subject, segue from Ed Orgeron's contract to Jameis Winston talk from Carson Palmer this week at the Super Bowl proceedings. I'm sure you've seen this. He thinks the Arians hire was a slam dunk and that the Bucs hit it out of the park there, to use every metaphor in sports. Yeah,
they'll cross the goal line with this hire.
This is a so by the way, he believes that the biggest impact that Arians will have will be on Jameis Winston specifically, who's in his 5th and final year of the rookie contract. Quote, "I love him and Jameis Winston together," said Palmer. Bruce's offense, with Jameis's arm and his capability of delivering the ball accurately 30 yards down the field, 40 yards down the field. You don't throw slants in Bruce's offense. You don't have to be real accurate underneath. You have to be accurate throwing comebacks and digs over linebackers. And
he does that, doesn't he?
He certainly does that better than most.
I was going to say, if Palmer's watching the tape that says he's always accurate down the field on bombs, well, we can ease up on that. But deep ends, deep crossers, and deep comebacks, there are few better.
And certainly anything he's throwing outside the pocket is better than most. In fact, better than all.
Yeah, that's 2 words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your ass. If
your
he's
ass.
outside the pocket.
And if he's rolling right outside the pocket, it's really your ass. Yeah. It's going to be the most accurate throw you'll see all year for whatever reason. It is remarkable.
Because his brain's not in it, and he's not thinking about the mechanics. That's my theory on that.
It's unbelievable how accurate of a passer he is while rolling to his right. Throws that he can't make with his feet set in the pocket with a clean pocket he makes on the run.
Because in the pocket sometimes, not always, but sometimes he looks like a pitcher trying to guide it into the strike zone rather than just throwing the baseball.
Improved accuracy yet again, though, this year, and got better on the deep ball, especially. Look, it's amazing how that works. You get rid of a guy that refuses to run routes accurately like Deshaun Jackson. Instead, you know where they're going to be, and you hit them. It's amazing. Godwin, every time, hits him every time. In fact, places it in very small windows, does the same with Evans, and you don't even have to with Evans, but I think we know. We know some things there.
He's not going to be around probably unless the injury shoots him down the board a little bit for everybody. But Hollywood Brown out of Oklahoma might be a nice, immediate fix if you're looking for that element in the offense. You can get a poor man's Deshaun Jackson right there.
Palmer went on to say, that big post, the Bang 8 post we call it, Jameis can do that and then some. In Bruce's system, when you've got guys like Mike Evans and you got some of those players that they have in the slot, plus those players on defense, he'll turn it around really quickly. I think the Bucs will go to the playoffs this year. That's the quote. I'm reading Carson Palmer's quote on the Bruce Arians hire and his thoughts on Jameis Winston in that system. I'll say this. At the end of last year, at the end of this past year, and we're still at the end of this year, I looked around the NFC, and I looked at the teams that made the playoffs in general. And, I understand the Bucs were terrible, but if you looked at what, the injuries that befell them and then some of the other factors, I felt like there was a lot to work with, and they were real close. That they were real close to being a playoff caliber team.
Yeah, when the D-line came to life at the end of the year, where you could both rush the passer and Vita Vea was something to behold, too. You had a chance to stay.
Vea was a big deal. That was a real big deal. Yeah. Yeah, no, I did. I looked at the playoff combatants, and I looked at their situation. I looked at their free agents to be. I looked at the overall age of a team, where they're at the quarterback position, how much more time they got left along the defensive line. Those guys age out quick.
And you look at the wild card level, not necessarily, getting a first-round bye level, but what does it take to be a wild card team? Like Baltimore, for example, is a wild card team. We face them down the stretch. That game is a game. It's a competitive football
Played
game.
well on the road in that game.
Yes.
In inclement weather,
Against that defense.
Yeah. Well, and he played really good against Dallas, who was a playoff team.
And he had like 17 drops in that Baltimore game. But, yes, Dallas as well.
Yeah, played against that defense and played well against it on the road and looked good in that game. There were a lot of elements that, again, played out, and I thought to myself, you know what? They're not that far away. They're just not that far away. And so I would think Arians was looking at that as well, and then he had his comfort level with Jameis, and so –
there was an article about because Deshaun Jackson obviously is using
he's using every opportunity he can to slight all of his former teammates, in particular Jameis.
Yeah, one of the spin job comments was that there are plays designed for him and Jameis turned away. I think that's true in the Dallas game. There are a couple of plays where it looks like he's the one. I don't know the progressions. I can't know them.
You can't know.
But judging how wide open he schemed in a couple of circumstances and Jameis delivers the ball elsewhere, the petty fan in me says, good, screw that guy. But I do think there is, at least in the Dallas game. I don't think leading up to it, but once it had come to a head and you knew this marriage was not going to work, we weren't going to the playoffs, I think Jameis did turn away from 11 on some throws.
I would have. 11's hung him out to dry time and again. He doesn't fight for balls. He will allow a defender to intercept a pass whenever it's not right in his hands. He doesn't always effort to make plays. He doesn't run accurate routes. There's a reason that guy has had a hard time getting along everywhere he's ever been, ever. So, that's the constant. It's him floating around, being an ass. So,
with that skill set, if you were a good citizen in the locker room,
right? You wouldn't be bouncing around team
You'd
to team.
You'd be a one freaking team your whole career.
No, look, I get how free agency works and all of that, but that's
but you wouldn't trade that. No. He's open all the time. That's true. He's open a lot.
Yeah, especially on a 9. He just flies down the field.
People know it's coming. It's like Joey Galloway.
Yeah,
People
know it's coming. They can't get. But again, for the longest time I was with you, I was getting really angry that Jameis would miss him. You got a chance here, man. You got to lift the lid. You're missing him, and I put that on the lap or at the feet of Jameis. But then I noted that when the guy wasn't in the lineup and we threw the ball deep, he's throwing it into tight windows accurately along the sidelines.
Yeah.
To Godwin, he does it all the time.
Well, I think some of it got in his head. It's also it's a longer distance, I think, too. Godwin's not going to get down the field at the same rate that Deshaun is.
No, but Jameis threw a pass this year that you and I texted each other with right after it was over. There was one to Evans and one to Godwin.
The one to Evans rolling to his left is the best throw I've ever seen him make.
It's insane. Arm strength's not an issue. It's not. It's that guy's not where he needs to be.
Maybe, but
and he's not going to fight.
But Fitzpatrick did miss in the right area for Deshaun. Jameis would never miss wide; he'd miss long, and that was a bit of a problem. And I think part of the issue too, going back to the original Jameis is all messed up in the head thing, is Dirk was telling everybody who would listen, and I'm sure he did in the meeting room with Jameis, because why not? He's talking to the media about it, about how often we're missing the shots down the field, how often Deshaun is open. Jameis can get domed up about some things.
Without question.
And I think that's one of those things he was domed up about.
Well, I'm sure, especially since it's brought up every 5 seconds by that guy and his head coach, which,
But it's still true that he killed us with some of the misses.
Well, no, nobody's arguing that. But it's unprofessional and stupid to bring it up incessantly when you're on the team to the press. Stop doing that. It makes zero sense. And, oh, by the way, it creates a divide and no trust. So even when he comes out of it, which he clearly did after being benched, and he is more confident than he's ever been and stoic and smart with the football and doing all the things we've been begging him to do, at that point he said, you know what, you're not part of the solution. I'm never going back to you. You can go to hell. And I don't blame him.
Well, and Dirk and he apparently, Deshaun that is, they had a disagreement in practice after Dirk made him a captain for a game.
What a mess.
The problem is the division, that the NFC South. They're potential juggernauts at every turn. Like Atlanta could get it figured out and turn around with all the weapons that they have and be prolific. And Carolina, if Cam's shoulder is healthy, well, that's a different animal too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not, from a quarterback standpoint, terribly worried about Matt Ryan and Cam. And it looks like Drew is beginning to lose arm strength significantly. Now, I don't know if he got hurt at the end of the year and that radically altered the way he looked from the first 8 games to the last 8 games.
You would think something would have come out by now, though, right?
Maybe, or they were just good at suppressing it. But something clearly, the film told you. You just watch the game. You could see he couldn't make those throws.
What I'm saying is he's done, so it doesn't hurt now to say, all right, he's got to have surgery in the offseason because of X injury.
Well, and it just could very well be age, and now you've got a problem on your hands because if he doesn't want to retire, you're not kicking Drew Brees to the curb. So let's hope he's fine. He's just old. Can't make certain throws. And
Cam's shoulder doesn't come back to life, yeah.
And let's remember, too, this is the interesting part about the upside of those guys, and they're all very, very good. When they are right, when they're playing well, they're very good. They're upper echelon. But it's not like Cam's been the most consistent quarterback. He had the one magical year. But really, outside of that, he's been up and down, kind of frustrating for fans at times. He could do the, oh, my God, I can't believe you're capable of that thing. He does do that. He's a physical monster at the position. But he's not always wildly accurate and consistent and doing the things that you want him to do. And Matt Ryan had an incredible season, one of the all-time great seasons. His MVP year is a great year, obviously. Never come close to doing that before or since.
No, but that offense looked like complete crap with all those weapons. I think Dirk will get him in order. He'll get that house in order. Ridley changes what they do.
No, and listen, it's the fact that they lost their OC, and it changed everything, obviously.
Yeah, Shanahan is...
Yeah, he's good.
But he's overcomplicated. It took Ryan... Remember, he used to complain that the play calls themselves were just too
much.
There's too much verbiage in them. He couldn't remember them all.
Just not up to the task, Tom. Maybe Matt Ryan is
Maybe he needs to get smarter, you dumb quarterback.
Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always. Miss anything, get caught up. All 3 hours get posted upon the conclusion of the program. We'll put it on iTunes. We'll put it in our audio vault, and you can find it on the app, the WTSM app, which is free for all your mobile devices. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Hope you're well there, YouTubers. Periscopers at 979 ESPN Radio. There you go. You can email the show. We got an email. I'll touch on that email in a moment. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. That's how you go with that. I wanted to note real quick, just because it warms the heart way down deep in the cockles, the University of Miami lost 82-70 last night to Virginia Tech. The Hurricanes dropped to 1-7 in the ACC. It's their worst conference start since 1993, when the Canes went 0-18 in the Big East. So they're historically bad, and certainly wanted our Miami listeners to understand that we'll keep you up to date on how their season's progressing. Right now, they seem to have hit a fork in the road, guys. They're stumbling a little bit. Who knows? Maybe they'll right the ship.
Well, at least they're better than 93, though, right? That's the silver lining.
Yeah, it's their worst start since then, and you're right. They can't be worse in conference, because they do have a singular victory. It's the one they're holding on to currently, that one win they do have.
Very tightly, yes.
It is the time where they go back and they reflect and they go, let's look at the conference schedule and see what it has wrought. And then they look at that one day and they go, there was a win there. There was a win there. Like, yep, don't look anywhere else, guys. Don't look anywhere else. You won't find any more of those. Oh! Yeah, none of them. That's just an aside. Thought you should know that. A lot of interested listeners. Met a guy the other day that's a huge Gator fan. Loves the show, listened to the show, and came up to me and said hello. And I said hello back, of course, and we had chit-chatted a little bit. And he said, yeah, do you run into a lot of Gator fans that listen to your show? I said, surprisingly, I do, yeah. And he goes, what about Miami fans? I said, I do. They're like, really? I could tell he was kind of surprised by that. Like, he sees the slant is a little bit more jagged and often pointed in the direction of Miami than our other rivals.
No, it's not enough to push Miami down, in the street. You got to kick them in the ribs.
Keep them there.
You keep kicking them.
You keep kicking. You kick till you're exhausted.
Right. It's the stop, he's already dead thing.
Yeah. Well, they're 1-7 in conference and tough times. They lost again last night to Virginia Tech. Okay, so that said. That said, you guys haven't been wrong when you say that I'm a little bit more clued in right now to recruiting than I've been in years. And I was actually trying to track it down during the break. I was wondering, when was the last time that I knew this many recruits' names, where they're from, the position they play, the percentage chance that we get them, how soon they're going to decide, whether or not they're going to visit or not, whether they've already visited and maybe perhaps come back again this weekend one final time. Who are they friends with? Who were they coached by? What high school that they played at? And I think you got to go to Jimbo's first year, maybe. Jimbo's that first.
You mean the transitional period?
Yeah, because he was doing well. Because we had been really the situation in Tallahassee was one of apathy. And so it's sort of just same old, lost decade. Doesn't matter who we got on this roster. I wasn't going to get all that excited because I knew they weren't going to be coached up. And we figured you're going to lose more games. And until that changes, there's no reason to get excited about anybody's commitment. But once it did change, and, of course, that famous quote from Coach Fisher in the Sports Illustrated article or the ESPN article, whichever one it was, about go get me grown-ass men, I then wanted to see said grown-ass men saying yes to Florida State, and I wanted to see how successfully he could sell hope, because that's all you really could sell at that time. And who was it you were selling it to? And could they be influential? And of course, LaMarcus Joyner turned out to be kind of the cornerstone of that class. And so that was probably the last time I was clued in on that many names, that many guys. This is different. This is not the same as that, because we're talking about now guys that in some cases are JUCO targets, in some cases are graduate transfers that played at small schools or schools that were middling at best in this conference, for example. And there won't be the kind of I mean, the guys I'm locked in on aren't the kind of high-profile five-star kids that Jimbo was going after. These are guys to upgrade the class, salvage something of what that offensive line is, and give you a fighting chance to become this other thing where you can now then target five-star kids, get on kids, and convince them this is the place that's going in the right direction, and Willie and his staff can use their recruiting prowess and the upgrades at those positions. So, for example, when Clements gets here, and then obviously Dugans is here, and then we obviously know Kendall Briles is here, and Willie is a great recruiter. So you kind of feel like, all right, now that you've righted the ship and you've given yourself a chance with this class, this one that's going to sign shortly, now you can get excited about those big names. So I'm locked in on kind of middle-of-the-pack guys just rounding out the roster, and, yeah, it's been – so, you're talking about over 10 years now.
Well, with offensive line, the blue chip status thing is nice to get. Would have been great to get Will Putnam out of Tampa, who went to Clemson at the last moment because of all the uncertainty. I mean, I think that had to be the deciding factor of going to Clemson versus Florida State. But it's not the same as looking at a quarterback or looking at a running back or a receiver that's a 5-star or a 3-star. Take the chances on size and see what you can do.
Yeah.
For example, again, I used this yesterday, the Charles Cross kid that committed to Mississippi State, and he flipped from us late in the process, closer to the early signing period. That guy was a 3-star, and magically now he's a 5-star. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Just give me big dudes who look like they have an idea of what they're doing. And
reasonably athletic, carrying good weight, not bad weight, sure.
And between Fry and Clements, coach them up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now you got two minds to approach this.
Raise the floor, man.
This critical issue we have,
Well, you do. You're trying to improve the integrity of the roster. You're trying to raise the floor, and you're giving yourself a fighting chance. And Florida State's doing that through sheer bodies. Surely some of these kids are going to turn out to be quality. My guess at this point would probably be Lucas. But, give yourself a fighting chance here.
You're not being an apologist for Willie to say that this coaching staff and the roster, what they're able to do after a 5-7 season is pretty awesome. It speaks to how good of recruiters they are, because to keep something within 11 to 15 in your first year when you fall flat on your face, that takes a lot of hard work. You're not being an apologist to say that, but also you don't need this to happen 2 and 3 years in a row. Like, this is like the strike you get.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to give your recruiting staff the chance to freaking recruit on even footing and be able to sell something.
Yeah, no, that's correct. And that's what I'm looking at. But it's true. Yeah, I am locked in with these guys right now. I've even watched freaking tape. I mean, that's how far down.
Really?
That's how far down I've gone, Tom. I've been watching. Not like I'm sitting at home in a dark room breaking down tape.
But are you watching the O-lineman's tape?
Like when they come up, when their names come up, I click on them, and then I kind of find some stuff about them, and I'll keep searching, and then I'll go, let's see what this guy's about. Yeah, I have.
Huh. Okay.
What are you going to do, man? They've required me to get down in the muck. I've had to do it. I've had to take on a greater responsibility to get our university back to where it needs to be. We got to do our part. Mm-hmm. We have to do our part, Tom. Hold people's feet to the fire. Hold people accountable.
Oh, we have that power.
That's right.
Don't we in spades?
I'll say this. We certainly have talking points, and we can drive the conversation a certain way or another. That's not arrogance. That's the reality of a situation built upon 20 years of greatness.
Okay.
So what I'm telling you is, no, we can't influence recruits. We can influence how the staff who's recruiting these kids is talked about and thought about. And that is 100% accurate.
I'm not going to openly threaten the coaching staff.
I don't think I'm threatening. I'm not threatening the coaching staff. I'm talking about watching carefully what they're doing. I'm talking about.
Okay, Wilfred.
I'm talking about what are you out there bringing into this here program we hold so near and dear.
You see, that's the kind of thing we can talk about if you fail.
It is indeed. It is. It's a possibility. In fact, it's a requirement. I mean, we wouldn't be doing our jobs.
I'm also not going to undervalue the benefit of sitting across from you. Been here for 20 years. But I will say this, that if next year looks like last year, they won't need talking points to be swayed in one direction or the other. The powers that be will know because they'll have to sit through crap for a second year in a row under this coach, a third year in a row overall.
Without question, really almost, yeah. I just wasn't enamored with the 10-3 season the year before that one, too. That wasn't a good one either. That felt empty as well. There were some staggering results that year.
The only satisfaction I had was it was almost retrospective satisfaction when Harbaugh was calling timeouts when we were kneeling at the end of the
Against
Orange
Michigan,
Bowl.
Yeah, that he was being an ass. He couldn't
Like
handle the loss.
a child.
A petulant child that he is.
Right. I didn't realize how much of a child he was in that type of 60-minute. I mean, like the Pete Carroll thing I thought was funny, because
it was, yeah.
And they would trade barbs, and it was good for the NFL. That rivalry was great for the NFL, but then I see him doing that nonsense, like a 7-year-old playing Madden. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think in fairness and all tongue-in-cheek and jokes aside and all that, I mean, we are candid on this show and our assessments of coaches and players and people in general. I think in fairness here, what I'm looking at and why I'm watching so closely is that there have been questions about this organization in this past year. And so I want to see evidence that that's getting cleaned up. It's not a threat as much as I'm curious. Are you doing what you need to do to get this righted? I don't want anybody to get it wrong here. We were advocates. I was certainly a huge advocate of Willie Taggart being hired. And I had a myriad of reasons for that, all of which I thought certainly would serve Florida State well. But when we have the evidence that we do, you now have to wonder, and you certainly are looking longingly, hoping that this is getting fixed. But this is a moment, signing day, the class as a whole, player evaluation, visits, these kinds of things, where you can kind of peer behind the curtain a little bit and see, are things getting cleaned up? Are things being handled properly? And that's really what I mean when I say, hey, 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, and joking around about threats and all that. It's just, it truly does inform the talking points. It truly does.
Well, you tell the truth and it'll be easy. You know what I mean? You don't need to sway people. If we suck, we suck. And last year was horrible on the field.
But sometimes there can be an argument as to what's really going on. Like a record could be built a lot of different ways, and the way you talk about it helps inform that larger conversation.
Sure. Well, this could be you could have had a stinker of a roster this past year, and it plays out in the field, and you don't have a fighting chance. And there's a lot of truth to that, especially with the offensive line.
Yes.
So you could argue that they went 5-7, but you know what? They flipped the culture, and things are buttoned up over there, and it's going to turn around.
By the way, can I intervene here for a real quick second because you just hit on something important? Because it does feel overall negative when we get into these conversations, but I do want people to know that what Tom just alluded to, that you could have changed out the culture and made a drastic change in the locker room, seems to be a consensus belief that has indeed happened. That the people who cover recruiting and the people who talk to the kids that have come to visit and their answers seem to reveal a family atmosphere, all the things that they were trying to build there, a connection with the kids, and the building of a program the way that Willie wanted to. I think that has happened by and large, that they've been able to successfully run off a lot of guys that didn't buy in, that they've been able to kind of either through addition by subtraction and also perhaps weeding out the kinds of guys you're recruiting. They've been successful in doing that by and large.
I think so, but if you were just to look at, the beginning of the tenure to, say, the last game of the football season, which was the last regular season game because we didn't make a bowl, that it wasn't that great of a job, that there was still infighting. Now, the purging process may not be easy, and I mean, it's untenable, certainly when you look at some of the players we had on offense that were running out there every single week and the message that it sends, especially if one of them has single digits for a number. I think the last thing that we need to clear here is with DeAndre Francois. What's the future going to be there? And at that point, you can start fresh. But we don't know what the result is going to be beyond spring practice.
Everybody's watching that one real close. And again, I don't think he'll be here in the fall. And I've stuck by that. I question whether he should be here in the spring. There are people who will say for sheer numbers you got to have him. Also, you're allowing Kendall Briles to make that decision because you've handed over the reins of the offense to him, and he should be at least allowed to look at that crop of quarterbacks and decide for himself. All right, I'll defer to that if that's what you're going to do. But I don't think he'll be here in the fall.
Well, you got to have regular talks about the pulse of a locker room and whether or not making that decision to reinvest in 12 for one last year in this offense is really something you want to do. Because I joked about it, a fictional scenario in which like Jimbo and Willie were talking. They could go to the coaches convention and they had 5 minutes because they're waiting in line for a cup of Joe. And Willie could talk to Jimbo and say, man, they told me all the right things. They did that same thing to me, big shooter. Same thing. They lied to me too. And they could have this moment where they connect and they say, Yeah, man, I got suckered in. Yep, that's what happened. So you can't let Briles, fall into the same trap. If the scenario in spring, all the right things are said.
Right.
All the right habits.
Yeah.
You can't fall for that. And hopefully Willie has that type of conversation with Kendall where he says, listen, man.
The guy's going to say what he needs to say.
Correct.
He knows how to play the game. He'll self-service with the best of them.
And if he's mad, like the gas pump,
Right, yeah. Promotion, self-promotion.
And if he's mad, well, just refresh his Instagram because I'm sure 5 minutes ago
you're
the world
gonna hear all about it.
You didn't hear about it first.
You know what you can hear about right now? The greatness that's going on Thursdays at Madison Social. It's the Social Agreement, the best deal in Tallahassee. It's today and every Thursday. $20 a person, $40 total. You and a friend can enjoy an order of wings where you share it. You get some bourbons. They got Woodford, too, which is good. Madison Social ales, if you will. The Sociales, as I called it in the commercial. So that's 2 proof ales. That's good. That's tasty.
No, they just moved. Yeah, they're
really,
doing
really,
their
really
soft
good.
open over there.
Yeah, and 2 Madso burgers to boot. That is not very expensive for an awful lot of quality food that's going on now. By the way, parking is great down there now. They've made it free, and you can find spaces. That used to be a problem. It's also the Taco Thursdays. They do Taco Thursdays over there. And you get two for 2? I think that's what it is.
I think that's right.
An amazing deal right there. Plus pizza on the cheap, too. Good stuff. That's what's going on over there today. Make your way on over there. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
30th. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. So, I read something today that cracked me up. We just got to play the game. We just got to play the game because I'm done. I mean, they've run out of angles. It's every time this time of year with the Super Bowl. If you can unearth a nugget of some kind, they're doing it, right? But now we're out of things. There's nothing left. How many stories can we write on either one of these teams, really? And angles. There's only so many angles. Look, at the end of the day, if they can stop the run, they got a chance to win.
That goes for both teams, I'm assuming?
I think so, yeah.
Like, who is they that can stop the run?
The Rams, the underdog.
Okay.
You know what's interesting? If this game were played in the regular season, of course, the Rams would be the favorite. And now we all assume that the Patriots are going to win. I shouldn't speak for everybody. I don't know if you do. I do. I assume they're going to win. I will tell you this. Yes, I was anticipating a bet this weekend because I like to bet on the Super Bowl, regardless if I have a passion for it or not. It's the Super Bowl. Well, juice. So I was looking up numbers. The favorites, by the way, all time in the Super Bowl, 32-20. That's pretty close, I mean, it stands to reason. Two really good teams got
it's a 60% hit.
Yeah, 32-20 all time against the spread in the Super Bowl. Now, the winner of the game against the spread, 43-6-3. The winner of the game. And so the straight up winner that's remarkable.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're hitting 32 out of 52 with the favorite and you have some underdogs winning, outright upsets, they're going to cover because they're underdogs and they're getting points.
But, for example, the underdogs, if they win the game, if they're going to cover, they're basically got to win outright is the way it's going to work. If you look at those numbers.
Yeah, because it's usually within a field goal or something.
So it's always within a field goal.
Yeah.
So the underdogs that win, the underdogs that cover are actually, you're just betting them to win the game. So, and that would stand to reason with this, because if you think about it, let's say you got that number at 2.5. Well, then you're betting the Rams are going to win the game.
So we did some Super Bowl year-by-year stuff yesterday, and what we can remember from all of our life once we started watching the Super Bowl and every game in between to this Sunday.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised by anything. I really wouldn't be surprised by any outcome. L.A. big, New England big, L.A. close, New England close.
Whoa, L.A. big. Really, that's speaking of, and I happen to have this fresh on the mind, I looked at the scenarios that are the most bet on by percentages. Almost nobody has bet the Rams big. Now, you wouldn't either. I know you're not saying that, but what I'm telling you is the country, based on betting trends, would be flabbergasted if the Rams won big.
Well, and I'm going to go and use some recent examples. I get it, 28-3, the comeback happens, but Atlanta's up 28-3. Who the hell saw that coming? And, all you need is one first down or a couple first downs. I'm not trying to argue against the greatness of New England in that moment, but who expected that? And then last year, who expected Philadelphia to be able to score at will?
Matthew did.
That's it. And he wears Eagles green. Yeah. So maybe one city in America.
Well, I don't think he said that either. I gave him credit.
Maybe some parts of New Jersey, too, where they fancy themselves Philadelphia fans because they don't have their own teams. So other than that, that was a stunning development. When the Seahawks hit Peyton Manning in the mouth and they didn't stop until he stopped moving, that was stunning.
It's funny. That's a game that, if you recall, there were people going, this Seahawks defense could be all-time great. This will be interesting.
But who saw
43-8, yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe they're good enough to be in the game for a little while, that kind of thing, or keep it close and it's a touchdown game either way.
When was the last time you looked at a game in the Super Bowl and said, this feels like an ass-kicking. This feels like a beat-down of epic proportions. This is not a good matchup, and then it turned out that way?
Well, the first one I can think of is Tampa. I knew when we beat Philly in the NFC Championship, we were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it certainly felt that way, and of course the Bucs won that game 48-21 and destroyed the Raiders in every way. But I agree with you, by the way. I remember calling my mother nearly in tears. I was so damn happy when we beat Philadelphia and jumping up and down, and I said to her, you know what this means? We're Super Bowl champions. She was like, don't you say it.
Yeah.
I go, we're Super Bowl champions. It's going to happen.
Well, that was like a younger form of myself, a less responsible form of myself. After we beat Florida in 2013 and the Kick Six happened, I was in Tampa that weekend, and I enjoyed the night on the town in South Tampa.
And you were like, national champs!
Celebrating our national championship in front of all the Gators that are down there in Tampa.
I'm glad you did it.
They didn't take too kindly to it.
They didn't want to hear that.
Then when we're in the second quarter in Pasadena,
and we're getting our ass beat, you're going, man, this is not a good situation.
I mean, Dan Wilkins believes that this is a butt kicking to come. It must be true. It must be happening right before our eyes.
I love that none of those people can live that down. How they all couldn't wait to leap on board.
They could not wait.
Oh, they were so anxious. So anxious. I think I knew, speaking of Tampa, I think I was fairly certain that Baltimore was going to throttle the Giants in 2001. That felt like the Giants were going to take an ass kicking.
Okay, here's another one for you. Colts, Bears in the Rain, the one you went to. Rex Grossman, I didn't think they had a chance in hell of beating Peyton Manning and the Colts.
I thought they had a chance, but I didn't think they would. I thought the Colts would win, but I was hoping against hope because that was the Super Bowl that not only did I go to, but I went with Matt Britton, who's a lifelong Bears fan, and I wanted my buddy to see his team win the Super Bowl, but I didn't think it was likely,
In 2010, the Colts and the Saints, I thought the Colts were going to win. In 11, I thought the Packers were going to win. They did. In 12, it was funny because it was Giants-Patriots again. You're like, the Giants are just going to win. Something stupid's going to happen.
And it did.
And they won.
21-17, great game.
Ravens, 49ers, I thought Baltimore was going to win, but that was too close for comfort.
The lights went out. Got really weird. Remember that? Once the lights went out, everything changed in that game, and then they were holding on for dear life.
Broncos, Seahawks, I thought Denver was going to win that game. I did. I could not believe what I was watching. I mean, it wouldn't have stunned me if Seattle won the football game, but not that way, not like that.
Yeah, that was one of those games where not only did they make a statement, they made a statement about, hey, look, this other team, the one that was favored, doesn't deserve to be out here with us. We are better in every way, shape, and form. It was crazy.
And then Patriots, Seahawks, that was a tough one. I think that was a toss-up, if I recall the way we talked about it.
Felt like a toss-up, yep.
Broncos, Panthers, 17 was going to win that game. I didn't know who was going to get there first, and the Broncos did, and they closed it out.
Well, and we have a cowardly moment from the quarterback.
Yes. Patriots, Falcons. We talked about how good Matt Ryan was playing. I do remember that in the week leading up.
Thinking about how fast Atlanta was.
And that offense was
the two-headed monster at running back.
Yeah.
Remember we were like, man, they've got two options there, and they're fast, and it's
and
on turf.
Right, and they got Julio. And
they're up 28-3.
Right.
And it's the greatest joke in the history of football. Man alive. Yeah.
Last year, Matthew had a little bit of bravado to him, and I believed it. You know, I learned a lesson in 2014, the first year of the college football playoff. One of our mutual friends, Matt, who lives down in Tampa, his dad is an Ohio State alum. And so he watches a lot of the games with interest, and he said, I'm telling you, they're a different team. I know they're the last team in, but I think they're going to beat Alabama. Something weird is going on with Ohio State.
And it was.
Nobody expected that to happen, and they were right. Matthew had the same look about him before the Super Bowl.
He's like, I know my team. We look right, but
this
we look ready to go.
It's Belichick. He scares me, but this offense is, I don't know, man. Something's going on here. It's different.
Well, the reason I said that they need to find more storylines and we need to kick off, and I'm done with the storylines, is that, and I'm glad they did this because it allowed me to chuckle this morning over my morning coffee. I literally was laughing in a diner this morning, having a cup of coffee and reading the paper.
Laughing in a diner. That sounds so pleasant.
Yeah, I like to do that. I like to go to diners. I like to read the paper. I like to drink a coffee and kind of start my day if I get an opportunity to do that. And so I did this morning, and I was out early, and it was cold, it was brisk, and I felt like it was 1984, buddy. I had the paper in my hand. I was walking in with my computer, my laptop, I got my cup of joe.
That's not 84.
That part's not. I sat in the corner, and it was perfect. And then the lady came over, and I'm like, coffee, please. I'll figure out.
Please tell me she called you hun. How you doing, hun?
Absolutely, she called me hun. It was perfect. So, it was one of those things where I thought if I were a smoker, it would have been good. I would have smoked right there. I would have been nice to smoke then. I don't smoke.
A big doobie.
Don't smoke.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Right there in the diner, Tom. All of us. Come on.
More hash browns, please.
Yeah, let's get our day
Emphasis
started
on
right.
the hash.
No, so I made the lady laugh because as I read the story, I chuckled. The angle of the story was that 24 hours a day, these coaches have to worry about their players in the build-up to the Super Bowl. And what are they doing? Are they getting enough rest? Are they prepared? And they went back and cited examples in Super Bowl history where a catastrophe occurred. And obviously you had the Cincinnati situation way back in the day with Sam Weich and the running back who went to a crack house and smoked all night. And anyhow, that dude's doing 22 years in prison currently. Sucks. Life went out of control. Pressure was too much. He went out the night before, got loose, and they lost their starting running back. That's a toughie. That's a toughie right before the biggest game of your life.
That crack will get you.
It got him. And I hate to laugh. I'm just laughing at the situation. I'm coming at it from the standpoint not of the human casualty, but rather the coach. What? What are you telling me? What happened? He's where? And I was cracking up about that. So Dan Reeves got the call about Eugene Robinson, the NFL's Man of the Year. Eugene Robinson, of course, for the Falcons. And we all remember what happened here. But this is why I laughed with this story. Kids, if you don't remember, this is how it goes. At about 9 p.m. that night, Robinson was arrested in downtown Miami.
Is this clean for kids?
It involves subject matter that is adult, but it is clean. There's no language here.
Okay.
So Eugene Robinson, kids, the safety for the Falcons, really leader of that defense. They're getting set to play in the Super Bowl and against Denver. And so this guy has to have a great game. He's their captain. He's literally was the NFL Man of the Year, and he's going to be in a secondary that John Elway's attacking.
Right, and so he's feeling very stressed.
He's feeling a lot of stress. So he decides to take it downtown. Just never leave the room, man. Just don't leave the room. But this is the part that blew me away. His wife was there. You got that joke, but I'll just keep moving. His wife was there with him. He left the hotel room that his wife was in. And apparently offered an undercover officer money for an act. Okay? For some, just in case the kids, right? For an act.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is the quote. Now, he was arrested, obviously. That's what happens when you offer an undercover officer who's posing as a prostitute money for sexual acts. So he was arrested accordingly the night before the Super Bowl. So imagine that moment.
Not just screwing, Mitch.
Imagine the moment that officer says, turn around and put your hands on the wall. I'm a police officer.
Oh, is that kind of party?
I'm not paying extra. But yeah, so
devastating.
The door flies open, the whole deal. The cops come storming in, and that's your ass. And there's no unringing the bell, as I said on yesterday's show. He's done. There's no
ringing the bell.
You can't retract the offer. I was kidding. I said, yeah, no, you're done.
I'm holding Monopoly money. I got you.
Quote, Dan Reeves. Of all the people I thought I'd have a problem with, if I ever thought I'd have a problem, he'd be the last one that I would ever pick. All I can tell you is that the police arrested him because he had, made a proposal. Delicate, Dan, delicate.
Not just screwing, Mitch.
To an undercover agent, as it turns out. But the agent said, I think she said, that Robinson wasn't serious. He was just finding out kind of jokingly. But then they knew who he was, so you see, they arrested him. Buddy, you must love that man. You believe that? You must love Eugene Robinson.
He does not believe that, but he loves him. That's what that is.
That is what that is.
He also loves.
That's unbelievable.
He loves what he brings to the table on the field.
Well, even the arresting agent said he was joking. Is that right, Dan? I don't see that in the report. But anyhow, Robinson, and this was the part that made me laugh aloud, and why the lady came over and wanted to know what I was chuckling about, and I couldn't tell her. I was like, just a funny story in the paper. Robinson did not return phone messages left by the USA Today sports section this week in an effort to get his side of the story. Now, you don't think he did it? You don't want to talk about the night before the Super Bowl when you were arrested for asking for that from an undercover officer? You're not going to return that call? Stunning. He didn't really want to talk about that.
I'll have more coffee, Wendy. Yes, I will.
I cracked up. That was the best. I love how the USA Today is like, listen, we tried. Guys, we called him and asked him if he wanted to talk about that. He declined. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I would love to have been fly on the wall for that call. Like, to have to be that reporter. Listen, Eugene, it's Jeff with the USA Today. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about what happened that night in Miami before the Super. No thanks. Click. I mean, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, I think the syllable "my" is when again message deleted.
Yeah. Reeves said he slept little upon learning of Robinson's arrest. This also made me chuckle. I spent a whole bunch of time with Eugene and his wife that night. Poor bastard is about to coach in the Super Bowl. At any point, is he sitting there in that hotel room with those two after Eugene's been released on his own recognizance? Thinking this is ridiculous.
Oh, I bet he slammed his hotel door on the way out when he has to walk downstairs.
Oh, my goodness, that's good. Quote, that's the one thing you worry about, you know? I just kept thinking about he and his wife, and it was all just a terrible, terrible thing that had happened. And I was trying to explain this difficult situation so that she could understand. You know, he's such a great guy. I was worried it was going to mess up the marriage. Oh, Dan. Oh, Dan.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Got to admit, I enjoy getting that email from our friend Steven over at FSU. 55 FSU baseball games available to watch in 2019. Those play 3 national TV games in Mike Martin's final season.
Okay, that's better. Usually it was just like the one when they did a Saturday to Monday series.
Yep. Fans of Florida State baseball will have 55 opportunities to watch the Noles this season, and all 36 of FSU's home games at Dick Howser Stadium will be available. Additionally, all 56 games, of course, are on the radio, and so really you have all these games to watch. And, oh, by the way, should note that the national games, Tom, I think how close this is, buddy. March the 12th at Florida on the SEC Network. April 14th versus Clemson on ESPN2. And on May the 4th against Pitt through the regional sports networks. I don't know why the hell that would be one that you'd pick, but okay.
Yeah, that last one's a bit of a head-scratcher. I didn't know Pitt had a baseball team.
I know. Not many people do. FSU's remaining 34 home games will be produced by Seminole Productions for the ACC Network. All right.
Congratulations, guys.
I'm excited. I can't believe how close that is. I mean, to see the first nationally televised game, for example, is March 12th. Tomorrow's February, buddy. It's nearly here.
Yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow, opening day, we'll have that 1-hour special, and then we'll head on over to Dick Howser Stadium and take in the sights, the smells, the sounds.
It brings tears to a middle-aged man's eyes, I got to tell you. The sounds of bat to ball and obviously the smell of the grass, the sounds of the stands. Glorious times, Tom.
Shuffling feet peanut shells, getting just gnashed into the concrete.
Forget about
and the bleachers. That's the sound of baseball right there.
It's glorious. And now there's refreshing, ice-cold beer at the Dick.
Beer at the Dick.
Beer at the Dick. Opening day. Forget about it. It's a good day. And then, of course, we also have Major League Baseball's opening day, which I'm going to assume is sold again this year to our mutual good friend.
I would think the Corner Pocket Barn Grill will jump on top of that. They always do.
It's always glorious. You know, how many years in a row has it been where we've gotten there for opening day for that all-day affair on ESPN, and we walk in and look at that Vegas wall, but then, of course, the doors are open because that cross breeze is coming through, and that weather is absolutely sublime.
And I know you can't do it, but many others can, and I do. The $2 hot dogs on opening day.
Well, you should, Tom. It's the one thing it's one of the few things that I really miss about the decision that I made some time ago, and, man, I do envy that. Every time I see it, I go, I'd like that. I'd like to have 17 of those.
They always make sure they have kraut, and they dice up some onions for you, too, which is pretty sweet.
Hey, speaking of food, as an aside, before we sign off for the soccer guys who are great, soccer guys are awesome. You're going to want to stay tuned to that. I would note, did not shock me to see the story. I don't want to get sued, so I got to be careful here how I talk about this, but you see where Tyson Chicken's in a little bit of trouble?
Oh, really?
Well, here's the thing, folks.
What's alleged here?
Yeah. Let me just put this out there to you, okay? If you're watching a television commercial, that's any of you at home, and it's for, say, 10 nuggets for $1, it should strike you as incredibly odd that you could get 10 pieces of real chicken for $1. It should make you pause maybe and think, I'm not sure that's all chicken. I got to think that's not real profitable for them, for the company selling the 10 or 15 nugget bucket for $1. How are they making any money? And is that real food? What am I eating? Allegedly, rubber. You're eating rubber. They're being sued.
Oh, really? Rubber, huh?
Rubber. And when I read that today, I went, yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right. Surely I wasn't eating food. It can't cost $1 for 10 of anything. 10 blades of grass should be more than $1. Here, come get your 10 blades of grass for $1.57. Seems reasonable. I mean, 10 nuggets. I see these commercials all the time. Burger King does that. Nothing against your Burger King, but
I thought that's who you were talking. I mean, that's the only place in America that does 10 nuggets for $1 right now, and they have a commercial on every 30 seconds about it.
But there are all these fast food places. It's like it's basically they're giving you the nuggets. Like, just take them. Just get them off of our hands. We can't be bothered with these nuggets. It's unbelievable.
You could have argued that they were doing that specifically because McDonald's has the market cornered on that, and so they're trying to change habits by making the savings ridiculous and wearing it so that you start coming there. I don't know.
I guess you could. But it's funny. You know,
that's what I'd argue in a court of law if they were paying me.
Yeah, but it is all part of the larger problem with processed foods.
Oh,
and,
boy.
and no. What I'm going to say is, like, you and I've had this conversation before where it's incredibly odd to watch Home Alone and see him pay for that pizza, which is more expensive from when that movie came out than it is now to get a pizza.
Yeah, that's true.
0 cents. Makes 0 sense. So, you realize, man, the ingredients may have changed. Seems like maybe we may be being sold a bag of goods here. I'm not real sure that this is legitimate food.
Well, we've got to decrease the surplus population sooner, man.
And allegedly, Tyson Chicken is all too happy to help out with that problem. Allegedly. According to the paper this morning that I read, the cafe, same one that had that awesome story that I can't stop laughing about with Eugene Robinson, Dan Reeves, and his wife.
How did you recall that the price of the pizza in Home Alone was that expensive?
I just remember reading an article a few years back where they were talking about how you got to be real careful about what you're eating and ingredients and things like that. And they said if you want to know how things have changed, you can look at old movies. They named several where somebody orders takeout or somebody gets a pizza or somebody, and it's more expensive in 1985 to get that same item than it is now. And they're like, think about how that could be. And then I read about several other things, and it just stuck with me ever since that Home Alone scene. I went back and looked it up because I was like, I want to see that. And I pulled it up, and I'm like, damn, my man's paying like whatever it was.
Like $14.50
for a pizza.
One large.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
That's 1990.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just blown away by it. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, hey, man, if you look at the stock market and other things, I can see why things are cheaper now. We're just booming, baby.
Mm-hmm.
We're booming.
Yeah, all's well with the world. Hey, soccer guys are up next. They're great. They are what's right with the world. Stay tuned for that, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on a Libations Friday, the day before the Super Bowl. And, by the way, on tomorrow's show, Warwick Dunn. Yeah, a little Warwick Dunn action. That'll be great. We always like to talk to Warwick.
Yes, we do.
And we're going to tomorrow. Sounds good. And so it's Terrell Baker going into the Hall of Fame at FSU.
Warwick Dunn wouldn't sell you rubber. You know what I mean?
No, he'd give you legitimate food.
If he says he's going to give you food, he'd give you food.
He'd give you real food, Tom. Real food. I agree with that. Terrell Baker would too, just as an aside.
He doesn't build homes with asbestos,
No, I don't think so. I think he's a good guy. I don't think he's not like the tobacco company, Tom. Not at all.